Tonight, Central Iowa Sports Network presents.
Cole's going to get the call up the middle. He sees a seam. 10-5, touchdown Maroons. He's got a seam. 5-2-1, touchdown Valley Tigers.
Central Iowa Football. Central Iowa Football is brought to you by the Atlantic Bottling Company, CenturyLink, Central Iowa Football, live on the Central Iowa Sports Network. Central Iowa Football is also brought to you by Schottenkirk Chevrolet, Shields. Are you ready for some football?
66 cool degrees with rain in the forecast. We've got rain for the rest of the evening. We've already had rain, but as you see on the flyover of Valley Stadium, we are getting set for number 1 versus number 2 in Class 4A in high school football. Good evening, everybody. Paul Yeager alongside Keith Bornes as we get you ready for it's always a good game when it's Valley and Dowling, but tonight you throw in 1 and 2, teams that have won the state title pretty much every year, it seems, in Class 4A. Teams that have known each other. They've played each other multiple times in a season, a lot of times in the playoffs. The last time these two teams played was in a semifinal, won by Dowling, which goes on to win the state title. These two teams, Keith Bornes, know each other.
They do a little bit.
Do you think they like each other?
Like Ollie and Frazier.
They respect each other.
Yes, very much so. And, you know, on any other night of the week or of the year for that matter, when people talking football, yeah, we're all very neighborly.
Because in some cases you are.
That's right.
Neighbors. Well, this is one that features two teams that are 2-0. They've come off wins, and they are going to play in just an incredible facility here at Valley Stadium. As you see, the fans are starting to make their way in here, and the sun is starting to head down, so the lights are taking effect. And what a gorgeous look there by the crew to give you a feel. This is just an environment. It gets your heart going, and it's not one of those exercise moments where maybe you've done some heavy lifting right before you go on the air, but this is one of those, the flutter is there.
Yes. Both coaches would tell you, if you cannot get excited for Valley Dowling, you are in the wrong sport. There is nothing in high school football in Central Iowa that really compares to it. You could argue Ankeny and Centennial, but these cross
doesn't have near the time yet.
Right, it doesn't. This is a very old rivalry. It has been going on for, we're guessing, 80
Close
years.
to 80 times.
And the beautiful thing about it, as you were talking about just a little bit ago, since 2000, 11 state titles have been won by one of these two schools.
And since 2000, the series is 8-8. So to have a rivalry, both teams have to be able to win on any given night.
Yes.
It cannot be one-sided. We beat you 42-32 every year.
Right. And this is certainly going to be one of those nights where everybody's been talking about it. Everybody wants to talk about Dowling's offensive line, Valley's defensive line, and then how that's going to match up against each other. Dowling's defensive line, just how much will they penetrate through Valley's offensive line? Valley's offensive line, they have made great improvements, but they are still a little undersized, especially tonight. So it's going to be a situation where, as people have been talking, it could be a coin toss as to who's going to come out on top, but I think we're all going to be looking at the line of scrimmage and who controls that.
All right, we are still a few minutes away. Normally we would have about a 7:30 kickoff, so Keith and I are going to fill you up for a little bit of some information. And we have the third member of our broadcast crew. His name is Jim Kirby, and he is down on our Shield sideline all season long. And let's bring him in early because the weather, Keith, and is what Keith is telling Jim. Keith is telling me the weather is important. It's not me. I want to clear that up right away.
Paul, here you go with your meteorology, jargon. But you're right. It is a little damp out here, and I think that kind of plays in the hands of the Maroons, with their ground game. But, I don't think it's raining all that much, that it's going to be that much of a factor. The wind is absolutely calm right now, and it's might even be a little bit steamy, but it's going to be a great night for football.
Now, you are watching, you've got the maroon and white right in front of you.
Yep.
They are on the south end zone warming up.
Yep.
And Valley there on the north side in the black and white. You've been on the sidelines for this game a time or two as well.
Well, I hate to admit it, but I was on that team that lost the first game to Valley back in 1977. Believe it or not, they played it in 2 nights at the old Valley Stadium, played the first half, and then there was lightning, called off the second half, came back the next night, and we played it, and the Maroons came up on the short end of the stick. I still say, Steve Flood, if you're listening right now, Richie Safran was down. The ref missed the call. That was key. I'm over it. I'm going to several 12-step programs still, but I just think that was a pivotal call that was missed.
Right. You clearly have forgotten it, and it hasn't stuck with you for going on 40 years.
Steve Flood was on the Valley Tigers that game, and he reminds me all the time that Richie Safran was not down.
All right. Jim Kirby on the sideline tonight. Thank you, Jim. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Okay.
All right, that's Jim Kirby. So let's get into the game just a tiny little bit here, and then we're going to hear from the 2 head coaches, both Gary Swenson and Tom Wilson. Had a chance to talk to both of them, and if you ever get a chance to talk football with those 2 guys, it's a lot of fun. I could do it for a long time. They just have other things they need to do instead of telling me or talking to me about, so what do you think about that offensive line? Remember that one time when he scored?
There is an awful lot of knowledge in that those experienced brains. We kind of liken it to saying that they have forgotten more about football than most people know. And so, yes, to listen to them speak and to have them talk to each other, you know that you are in the presence of greatness when those 2 sit down and talk.
A testament of the professionalism of the
Yes.
2 and the respect that they have. And that's one of the things you'll hear Coach Wilson talk about is some of that relationship he has with Coach Swenson. And the hardcore Valley and Dowling fans don't necessarily want their 2 head coaches to be, I'm not going to call them buddy-buddy, but to be cordial to one another.
Yes.
You want it, my rival the whole time.
That's right. It is. We also talk about this in the locker rooms every now and again. Is when the players come up and say, "Do you just really not like the opposing team here?" And I've talked with Dowling coaches and our coaches, and we always kind of say, "Well, we sure wish we didn't like them," but it's hard because they are great coaches. They're great people. And the professionalism between the 2 schools is really phenomenal.
And, in fact, just a few minutes ago, you were having a conversation with one of the coaches who you coach against.
Yes, Claude Wilkins and I have known each other and played against each other for several years now. And last night, in the true fashion of Valley Dowling, another great football game.
Valley's won the first 2. Can they win the third tonight here? And let's talk a little bit about the 2 teams. Ben Wilson is quarterback for the Dowling Catholic Maroons, number 1. He's 21 attempts, 13 completions, 166 yards, 3 interceptions, and 3 touchdowns. He faces off against the Michigan State recruit, Rocky Lombardi. 20 of 36 passing, 293, 3 touchdowns. Rocky is a phenomenal athlete. We've talked about his abilities to throw, to run. He's going to be asked to do a lot tonight.
He is. And, 2 years ago when we were watching Rocky Lombardi play, and last year when we were watching Rocky Lombardi play, we would always kind of look at him and say, yeah, he's deceptively fast. This year he looks fast. And so he has really done some great things in the weight room. He ran some track. He's faster. He's stronger. And he can make throws that normal high school quarterbacks wouldn't even think about trying to throw, like off your back foot going down and still throwing it down the field 35 yards.
Well, and that's something he is going to be asked to do, but behind an offensive line that is still trying to find all the right parts, trying to create room for the likes of Javon Mason and Trey Fugate and Jacob Morris. Those guys combined for 3 touchdowns. It's tough sledding. It has been so far, but the defenses that the Tigers have faced have been good defenses.
They have been some very good defenses. Waukee put together a fantastic defensive game plan last week, and Bettendorf, as everybody knows, is a
perennial power.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they have won 11 state titles, 9 or 11, I can't remember which. But so the road to get to here has been pretty tough. And Coach Swenson says that the guys up front have worked as hard as any group ever has. It's just that right now they're a little undersized and a little inexperienced.
The Maroons, they bring lightning and thunder. Jacob Zachary and Cole Deskin, two incredible running backs that are fast and faster. Maybe that's what we should call them.
Fast and faster.
You pick which one's which.
And strong and stronger.
Yeah.
When they always talk about people that are fast, and you got to watch out for them. Those that are strong, and you got to watch out for them. But those that are strong and fast, sometimes you can barely see them.
Cole Deskin, I believe, has a couple of Drake Relays titles in his pocket.
Yes, the Maroons have been able to put together some very good sprint relays. And, Cole, everybody knows Cole can run.
All right, we'll talk. I'm sure Jim Kirby will fill us in on the tracks prowess of a couple of those guys a little bit. Wide receivers for the Maroons to watch tonight: Cole Billings, Jack Kerner, and Sam Ingoli. Three guys. Kerner has really come along. Only has one catch, but it was a big one for 51 yards. When you've got targets like that, it makes a quarterback look better than he may be.
Yes, we have seen great wide receivers make quarterbacks look better than they are, but when quarterbacks are pretty good as well, it's a great combination. But it's comforting as a quarterback to know that if you throw it to an area, not necessarily a person, that person is still going to come down with the ball.
Well, and we talk about receivers for the Tigers here. Braden Heald, Austin Hinkle, Tariq Brown, three pretty good weapons, too, for the Tigers.
Yeah, they've certainly shown that they can cover the field, and when the ball is thrown in their direction, if it's within a couple of yards, they're more than likely going to come down with it. And when it's in traffic and going up for it, I can't think of a time where I've ever seen any one of the three back down from a fight after going after the ball.
All right, let's find out from the head coaches here. We're going to step aside for a moment, take a break, come back. We'll talk with head coach Gary Swenson of the Valley Tigers and Tom Wilson from Dowling Catholic. When we come back here on CISN, let you know a couple of things before we go to break, that this is the pregame show that's brought to you by Schottenkirk Chevrolet, Shields, Mid-American Energy, Metabank, Waters Autoland, the Better Business Bureau, and Westside Auto Pros. And all of our sideline reports tonight are brought to you by Shields. When we come back, it's the head coaches next on CISN.
Repeat and referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now. And after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none. And we're committed to it, and I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us. Or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing. 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/.
Coach, this is a game 1 versus 2. Doesn't matter rivalry. What is it like on a 1-2 week? This is the whole, you don't have to coach the guys. You don't have to prep them. They know what's at stake.
Well, you're right, and really the 1-2 part of it never comes out. We just kind of talk about what we need to do to be successful, like we do any other week, but it's just the heightened intensity of it all. It could be, both teams could be 0-2, and it's going to be a great rivalry game. So the 1-2 doesn't play a much part of it. Everybody else likes to talk about that, and it'll certainly have something to do with the rankings going on from here, but really it's not something we get into.
It's not the first time that I've talked to you that you've said we've got a target on your back or our back. You feel like that again this year, I assume?
Oh, there's no question. I think it's been that way for the 12 years that I've been here, but I think obviously that target has grown within the last few. So it's just something we deal with and we live with, and it's really a good thing.
What's changed to make it so it's pretty much you, 3 in a row state championships, going for 4? What has it changed? What has changed in this team for you?
Well, obviously, there's talent. I mean, we've always had talented kids. Our kids work hard. I mean, I think there's luck falls into that. We've obviously achieved a lot in the last few years, and I think our kids certainly deserve the credit for that. And this group's just trying to write its own chapter, and that's something that we talk about all the time. Is these kids that are seniors, they don't want to start talking about their high school career and just talk about their junior year. So hopefully they can write their own script, and then sometimes there's bumps in the roads, but we have to deal with those too, and that's part of coaching.
Weight room, camps, which is more important to you in the off season?
No doubt the weight room, and that part is Adam Jack does that for us. He's second to none, I think, in Iowa high school football in terms of getting the most out of kids. Our coaches play a part of that. That's been a huge point of emphasis ever since I came, and it's carried on, and our kids do a great job there. The camps and everything are important, but just developing athletes and people is more important.
How much longer before people call you and say, all right, tell me what you're doing. Let's examine this program. Let's copy everything you're doing. Is that happening now?
Sure it does. And I think all of us learn from each other. I've said many times, before I came here, I was always looking at what Gary was doing at Valley. And I think both of our programs make each other better, and I'm sure they get calls to see what they're doing, and just like I used to do with him before I came to Dowling, and we get calls and things like that, and we copied a lot of things from a lot of people. We didn't invent this, and so we've just learned from each other and try to do the best we can.
Your team tonight, offensive line, a lot of people point to is where coaches will always say it starts with the line, but for you this year, you've got the talent to go along with that coaching that Coach Williams brings.
Oh, we do. I mean, we feel good about our offensive line. We still think we can play a lot better than what we have to this point. And, when you have Pete Nank, who is a Division I commit, you have Zach Ross, who has a Division I offer. Obviously, that's a nice place to start. But Coach Williams and Coach Pollack, they do a great job with those kids, and we're striving to get better all of the time, and we feel like it can be a real strength of this team, but I think we're just scratching the surface with them right now.
Your skills on the offensive side, sometimes offenses are behind defenses to get started. You can't say that confidence in winning 2 games hasn't helped you, but it has. What's going to take for them to find that next gear and then really make this offense hum?
Oh, we just, our tempo needs to get better. We need to be better in the passing game than what we have. Really people are crowding the box so much, and it takes away your short passing game as well when they do that. So, and we've hit a couple of big pass plays over the top, which has been helpful for us. But our strength lies in our backfield with our 2 running backs, and we understand that, and we're going to try to play to those strengths, and then everybody else has a complementary role behind it.
I think earlier this week I called them lightning and thunder. I'm not the first one to call that, but how is it that those two offer such a tough thing for defenses to contend with?
Well, I think they complement each other very well. I think, they have bought into the two-back system. I think, if you talk to each of them off the record, would they like to be the guy that carries it all the time? Probably. But I think they do complement each other very well, and it's part of the reason why we've been able to keep them as healthy as we have, because instead of one kid getting 30 carries a game, that they might be, 15 and 15 or 18 and 12 or whatever it may be. So, I think their complement of each other and how they've handled that is extremely important, and hopefully it makes us better in the end.
Defensively, your strategy, how do you contend with a guy like Lombardi who's both good in the pocket and rolling? How do you keep a guy? You've played tough quarterbacks before, but what about this guy that you've played 2 times before? More than that, in 2 years, I should say.
Yeah, this will be the 4th game that we've coached against Rocky, and he's a great player, and there's a reason why he's committed to Michigan State. And it's a tall task for us. I think the big thing for us is to make them one-dimensional. If we can stop the run, keep Mason under control, and whoever else they would put in there to run the ball, and then that gives us a chance to then focus on Rocky a little bit. And he can make plays. I think the scariest thing is him making plays with his feet. The other thing is he's getting rid of the ball so quickly this year in their 3-step passing game, which I think has complemented their skill set very well. And so he's a good quarterback, and we're going to have our hands full. And like I've said, we faced him before, and it's a challenge I think we're looking forward to.
Give the Valley fans and fans who are just watching this game that haven't seen your team, who are on those defenses. Mitchell Riggs, Jacob Hummel, Willie O'Hara, guys that have big stats, but who are fun guys to watch on the defensive side?
For us, really, it starts with our defensive line. Elias Bell, Ryan Mells, John Wagner, Dakota Streffler. That's where it starts for us. And the reason why the Riggses and O'Haras and the Hummels have the stats that they do is because of those guys up front. And they're good players in their own right, but they seem to complement each other very well. And Jack Kerner, our free safety, is off to a great start. He's kind of becoming what I thought he always could be. Last year he battled injuries most of the year and played hurt, but he's more healthy this year, and I think we're seeing just what he can do.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's head coach Tom Wilson of the Dowling Catholic Maroons, and he brings a team that has won 3 straight state titles, and they are going for 4 this year. But standing in their way is that other team that seems to win a lot of state titles, and that is the Valley Tigers. Here's Gary Swenson.
Everybody loves a good rain shower.
Yeah, well, we got it tonight. Hopefully we're toward the tail end of this system, but you never know. I think the really heavy stuff moved through early. I just think we're going to get wet. That's part of football. You got to be able to play in it.
Well, the only reason I bring it up is this enough of a distraction from a game like this one? Would you rather think about a game or think about the weather?
I don't think it'll be any factor either way. Once both teams are out in it, you can't look at the weather as a crutch, that it's going to be something that hurts you. And the good teams can win in weather, and I think you got 2 good teams here tonight, so it's not going to be a factor.
Because you can get to November when it's snowing sideways and things like that, so it's all part of it. All right, this one is a game you guys have played a lot in November. I guess that's kind of why I bring that up too. You're very familiar with this team. Does that help, or does that here we go again, got to play these guys?
Well, I don't know that it's either way. The game is always a game that the kids look forward to, the first go-around, because it's on the schedule, and the school year's just starting, so everybody's fired up, and I think it's a game that, as coaches, sometimes you just want to play it and get it behind you, no matter what the outcome is, because it kind of consumes your thought process even before the week starts. And your kids, you try to keep them on point every week, the one game at a time thing. But I'm sure in the back of everybody's mind, you're always kind of peeking over to see how they are.
And they're good up front, both offensively and defensively. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, they're just so big. That's an unusual team. we've had big teams. We've had big offensive lines, but nothing like this. We'll see tonight if they're big and good. I mean, a couple of them already have Division I offers, so they don't just hand those things out because you're big. You got to be able to play. So, yeah, it'll be a challenge.
Where do you see on their offensive line? Is there spots that they're stronger or weaker at?
Well, they got 3 kids that are 300-pound kids that aren't, sloppy 300 pounds. They're good-looking kids, and they can play. That's tough when they start leaning on you. If you don't keep the ball away from them, eventually your front on defense will break down because we're just not anything close to that. So, hopefully we can be efficient when we have the ball and not keep punting it back to them, because that would be a disastrous game for us if we can't keep the ball and score points of some kind when we do have it.
You guys have been spreading the ball out a little bit more, kind of putting it into the air. Weather, you can't let weather be a factor of that tonight, but what do you see as keys for executing and keeping control of that ball and keeping drives going?
Well, if you don't hurt yourself with penalties or turnovers, you got a shot in high school to move the football on anybody. Most high school drives are stopped by the team that has the ball because you have that ill-timed holding call, or you put it on the ground, or you throw it to them. The negative plays, sacks, big penalties, those are the things that get you beat. So if we can avoid those, we can stay in the game. If we don't avoid them, we'll have a hard time staying in this game.
They have some smaller guys in that secondary that you see as a possibility to, there looks to be, like, just on paper, a little bit of a mismatch there. Is that a fair statement?
I think there's 2 or 3 areas where we match up very well with them. I like our receivers against their DBs. I like our DBs against their receivers. I think our quarterback is a better quarterback. Our running backs are different types of backs, but I wouldn't, I like our backs. I just think on the line of scrimmage, it's just the size issue. That doesn't mean that we can't be effective there. I mean, but it is an issue.
And it's just something that you've been watching, and that's what's coming tonight. Final thought, overall for these guys, how do you just address them in the locker room? How are you going to address them tonight to just say it is just one game?
Well, we always talk about the keys to victory, and there's a common thread every week about energy, effort, hustle, turnovers, toughness. I mean, those apply whether you're playing Dowling or whether you're playing Bettendorf or Waukee or anybody else. There won't be any dramatic Newt Rockney speech in our locker room. I don't have one, but you do try to look your kids in the eye and give them a feeling like they can do this and that they've been well prepared. And we'll try to give them what we can that might be helpful, but ultimately they got to go out on the field and perform. As coaches, this is our time now. We try to manage the game from the sideline, but the players have to play.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's head coach Gary Swenson talking to me earlier tonight. The rain here is starting to pick up, and we should have a good football game in just a moment. Kickoff coming your way next on CISN TV.
Repeat and referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now, and after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none, and we're committed to it, and I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us, or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing. Your size, your style, we've got it all.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau's seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
All righty, it's time for football at Valley Stadium. A pleasant good evening to you, Paul Yeager, Keith Bornes, Jim Kirby, and the entire CISN crew here as we get you ready for Valley and Dowling, number 1 versus number 2 in the rain in September. And in for a whole lot of fun. We have a contest that features teams that have pretty much dominated the western half of football in Class 4A, and this year appears to be no different. Both teams 2-0. The Maroons come in top-ranked, 28-10 victors over Ankeny, 37-17 winners last week on this field when they were the home team against Urbandale. The Tigers of Valley are 49-13 winners against Bettendorf, and then 34-7 win last week over Waukee. Next week is next week. Tonight is the night for a very good game. We have a temperature of 65 degrees. We have rain falling currently. We are settled in for a lot of rain this evening. The light variety. The wind out of the west at a small 10 miles an hour, and I don't even think it's blowing that much. Jim Kirby is down on the sideline for us. He's going to help us set the scene a little bit more. And, Jim, this is a contest. I can feel the stadium shake up here. I'm sure you can hear the noise down there.
Well, Paul, this is like Auburn, Alabama. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Spy versus spy.
Cubs versus Cardinals?
Cubs versus Cardinals. It doesn't get any better than this at the high school level. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Jim Kirby tonight on our sideline. Let's get to our keys of the game. Keith Bornes, what do you see? What does Valley have to do to win tonight?
What Valley needs to do tonight is get themselves in a position that Rocky Lombardi can be effective. It's going to be on his shoulders. The backs will be used as they always have been, but the key is going to be getting out to the receivers so that our offensive line, and he's going to have to do it quick so the offensive line has a chance to hold up Dowling. As far as Dowling is concerned, they're just going to have to shut down Rocky Lombardi.
That's how you see it.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, and Rocky is one of those guys. He's 293 yards passing. He's got 6 yards rushing, but 2 touchdowns. He's been sacked a couple of times. The fans are jumping. The Maroons will receive the opening kick of the ball game, and the Tigers will kick it off from left to right in their home black uniforms. Cole Hahn looks to get a shoe into it to start the contest. Oh, are you ready for a little football? I am. Hope you're settled in and warm tonight. If not, and you're cool sitting on the beach somewhere, we're glad to have you here. It's Valley Dowling 1-2, and we are underway in West Des Moines. Early on, Cole Hahn does what he's done all year, and he has kicked it for a touchback, and that'll bring out the Dowling offense led by Ben Wilson at quarterback. His tailback is Jacob Zachary and Cole Deskin. They will split time. You'll see them both. Daniel Keogh is the split end. The flanker is Sam Ngoli, and the tight end is Joe Lanthram. The slot, Cole Billings. The right tackle, Jesse Alger. Zach Ross, Matt Lawler, Mitch Goff, and Peter Nank up front for the Maroons. Wilson in the shotgun early on, Zachary left side, and he is wrapped up from behind the line of scrimmage. Good start for the Tigers as the tackle is made by Sam Rogers.
One of the things that Valley really has to do tonight is keep the ball in between the tackles. That's where their best strength is up front, and with that, Dowling, they need to, again, control that line of scrimmage.
No gain on the play. Handoff goes back up the middle, and this time a little more yardage for the Maroons. And Zachary's going to get up maybe 4 on that play.
you could see Dowling really get a good push up front. And one of the things that is kind of a telltale is what are the D-backs doing on run plays? And Will Phillips was definitely up in there making that help out on that tackle.
Wilson hands it off. Zachary right side. He gets stiff arm one, gets up forward, drops a hit on Noah Barr, but there's more Tigers there. And it's going to be short of the first down, and the Maroons will have to likely punt as it's only a gain of 2 on the play.
Great job of getting to the edge. The stiff arm came. Zachary kind of made the defender look like a rag doll, but outstanding flow by the rest of the defensive backfield and that linebacker crew.
The Maroons will have to punt. Back for Dowling is Lane Bender, back at his own 10-yard line. He'll kick it here. More of a traditional style kick. Great punt. Goes over the almost the head of Hinkle, and Hinkle pulls it back in at about the 35, driven backwards about 2 yards to the 33. Coverage for the Maroons by Aaron Craw. And that'll be where the Tigers start as the Maroons go 3 and out.
Fantastic punt there. Austin Hinkle kind of showed some nerves of steel as he was certainly being surrounded by Dowling as they had great punt coverage.
So Zachary gets 23 or 6 yards on 3 carries, and the Tigers will bunch the far side of the field. They have Mason now go to the left side of Lombardi. Shotgun, gonna pass it right away. Throw it down the near side. Open receiver off the wrong shoulder of Hinkle, incomplete. And there's a look at your game plan early on as the pass is thrown at Moses Dwa. Incomplete. It'll be second down.
One of those timing routes where you want to make sure that you get the ball lofted up there pretty well, but I actually think that Rocky Lombardi was standing back there thinking, I have time to throw this. Might have been a little bit of a surprise.
Lombardi on the season, 20 completions, 293 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He was going for Hinkle, who's got 5 catches and 35 yards, yet to score a touchdown this season. Second down and 10 from the Valley 33. Brown goes in motion, fake to him, rolling out to the near side. Here comes some pressure. Lombardi gets away from it, complete into Dowling territory. Caught by Braden Heel. First down for the Tigers.
Rocky Lombardi covered a lot of territory, and as we talked a little bit in pregame about what he can do because he has such a strong arm, he didn't even have an opportunity to get his shoulder square to the line of scrimmage. He threw that ball across his body, and it still went downfield 25 yards.
Ball on the Dowling 49-yard line. Pass completion. 25 yards. Mason, first time tonight, spins out of one tackle, and then he is met by a huge pressure from that Dowling defensive front line. And Willie O'Hara says, hello, nice to meet you.
The running games of Valley and Dowling off to the very similar start. Initially, it looks like they are going to exploit a hole, but the defenses on both sides are just really converging onto the ball.
Brown goes in motion. Hand off to Mason up front. Makes a move to the inside, then goes out. Off tackle and gets a good 6 yards there, almost 7. It'll be third and short, third and manageable for the Tigers.
Yes, after that no gain on first down, you're off schedule a little bit. Having a 7-yard gain is something that really helps get you back on schedule.
Tigers have it, 3rd and 4, 8:20. Clock moving. Lombardi, 3-step drop, throws it near side, caught, and more. Tigers go to Luke Matney.
That was a great timing route. Moved down the field very well. Lombardi had some heat on that, and Matney had to go up pretty high for it. I was very impressed that he was able to get up as high as he did, bring that ball around, and tucked it away right away as he knew he was going to be in traffic.
Another pass completion, ball down to the 29-yard line. Lombardi fakes it left on the play option. And I'll tell you what, if he would have given it to Javon Mason, that would have been a loss. But instead, Lombardi picks it up and gets inside the 25 to the 24, gain of 5.
One of the things that, you always want to talk about is what is your quarterback going to go ahead and do. I think we saw last week over at Waukee that Rocky is not afraid to get downfield and make a block. He's also not afraid to run that ball up the middle and make a hit.
2nd and 5. Lombardi throws. Intercepted by the Maroons. Picked off, still on his feet. Dowling's Adam Lee. That is a drive killer. Game changer. It's the team who turns it over. First interception of the season for Rocky Lombardi. Let's go down to the sideline, Jim Kirby, and that is a way to end a drive in a hurry.
Well, I just don't think Rocky Lombardi saw Adam Lee down there. He was underneath coverage. They were going to try to exploit the height of the defensive backs of the Maroons, and I think that he just lost track of them.
So that play goes, that drive goes 7 plays and then is a turnover. So let's see if that's the first. What that does for Valley. They're going down the far sideline, and it's incomplete.
A little bit of contact there.
Intended receiver was Jack Kerner.
Some very good coverage there. Both the wide receiver and defensive back kind of made some handshakes with each other as they were getting to try and reposition themselves.
Ball on the Dowling 28, 2nd and 10. Handoff, Koldeskin before the snap. There is a whistle. So I'm going to guess that is on Dowling.
Coach Swenson was talking in the pregame that most of the time you're looking at a team that will end its own drive. Not necessarily that the defense does it, but a mistake that you make on offense with an interception or what we just saw here with Dowling with a penalty.
Quick pass, ball's on the turf, but I don't know if they're going to call it complete. They're going to say incomplete. Coming up, coverage in a hurry for the Tigers was Noah Barr.
It's been a lot of fun watching Noah Barr progress over these last 3 years. As a sophomore, he came up, had a huge interception for a touchdown. Last year it did not go as well. Sometimes your athleticism, you think it's better than it really is, and now his athleticism has certainly caught up with him, so nice job defensively.
Hand off Koldeskin, he's wrapped up, but then he spins out of it, still on his feet, but he's all of a sudden turned back by the Tiger defense, all the way back, but Al Naba was there first. Yenser came in, and then cleaning up the mess left behind was Braden Rowe, the 5'9 senior. And again, the Maroons are going to be forced to punt here at the 6:26 mark, first quarter.
Yes, the excitement of playing in a game of this magnitude is certainly put the defenses on both sides in a position to make some big plays. They're very excited, and you can see just the momentum that they are getting as they all flow toward that football.
The Maroons went backwards on that drive, 15 yards because of the penalty and then the sack behind the line. Weak punt, bounces on the Dowling side of the field. It doesn't clear mid-range, and it's down to the 41, and that's where Valley will start at Jim Kirby down on our Shield sideline.
Well, it's going to be tough for the Maroons to make any progress with that big defensive line that the Tigers have. Sam Rogers on one side and my favorite Ben Campo on the other, and then you got Daba in there. They're not going to have their way with this defensive line like perhaps they've had with some of the other games they've faced so far.
Jim Kirby all night tonight. Ball's on the 41 of Dowling. So the Tigers, they've started some drives in the short side of the field this season, and it's usually resulted in a score. What can they do this time? Lombardi looks to throw across the middle, tipped up, and then finally picked off, but I'm going to bet hold the phone. That's probably going to be pass interference of one variety or another. I don't think Hinkle had any chance to catch that. Jim Kirby right in front of you again was...
Yeah, Moses Dwa just a little bit early. He tried to make a play. He's, got the height difference that he's got to work with, but he was almost there just a little too soon.
Referee tonight, you can hear Chuck Britton making the call. He's joined by Ryan Hanam, Mike Stewart, Jeff Trost, and Jack Jaspers, wearing the white and black stripes, not the white and black uniforms.
Very nice. One of the things that we saw Hinkle do on that, he formed up that pass very well, and the only way that Dowling was going to be able to make a play on it was to come in early.
Lombardi fakes to Mason, keeps it, and same play that had success on the last drive, doesn't on this one. And nice tie-up right there in the middle. We thought this would be a hard game right in the middle, Keith.
Yes, it is. It is going to be very tough to run through either defensive line. And to try and get to the edges, Valley is probably going to have more success with some passes out into the flats. But we've seen success going down the field already. Dowling, they're going to have to get to the edges as well to help move defensive linemen out of the way so that it opens the middle a little.
Third down for Lombardi. Looks right, throws, caught by Heald, and he escapes down the near sideline. Touchdown, Tigers!
What an extraordinary job by Heald, walling off the defensive back, and then he spun to the outside so quickly that when he had the ball covered, he had both hands on the ball, he spun around quickly and was able to break out of the grasp of Dowling's defensive back. And then he almost, as they were trying to catch up to him, they gave him a push, and it actually sped him up into the end zone instead of knocking him out of bounds.
Cole Haan on to attempt the extra point. 5 minutes to go in the contest. Bad snap, and it's blocked. And no return here. That could come back to make a huge difference in this contest. 6-0 Valley right after this on CISN. We'll watch the replay when we come back.
Repeat referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now.
By nearly doubling our clean energy as part of our 100% renewable vision.
That's a big area of our business
our energy costs will remain some of the lowest in the nation. We'll create new jobs and boost economic growth. Our air will be cleaner, our state stronger, and together we'll advance this country's energy future forever.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
As you're going to see here, the receivers are getting downfield and trying to turn very quickly. It's going to be short passing, and then you see him spin out of the grasp and now trying to get pushed out of bounds. It actually propelled him into the end zone. Great job by Heald, walling off the defender. Rocky Lombardi putting some heat on that and delivering a very, very fast pass.
Tonight's weather report brought to you by Metabank. 65 degrees and rain, wind out of the west ever so lightly. The rain is still falling. And the keys, as we heard Keith bring you earlier tonight, brought to you by Schottenkirk Chevrolet. Also thanks to Shields, G&L Clothing, and the Better Business Bureau for bringing you this contest tonight. Hahn's going to get his kick into it and go into the touchback position. And Jim Kirby, that was right in front of you.
Rocky Lombardi's pass is coming right at my head, and I'm so glad that Austin Hinkle went up and grabbed it. He does these little things that receivers do. He catches the ball and brings it into his body, defends himself, and then takes advantage of some great blocks downfield, great moves, all the fundamentals of a wide receiver.
All of our sideline reports brought to you by Shields. Ball starts at the 20-yard line. 80 yards to go for the Maroons. They've gone 3 and out on their first 2 drives. Wilson gets the handoff to Zachary. Zachary runs near side. He gets through into the secondary. He's hit, but not before he gets about 6-7 yards. As Rowe and coming in, Austin Cook to make the tackle for the Tigers.
That was one of those plays that really could have broken open Zachary, a quick back as well. He's got good speed. But you saw the linebackers come over And once they made contact, they were not going to let go of that, and they helped get other defenders back into the play.
Wilson's going to be thrown for a loss. Making the stop for the Tigers is Ben Campos, and he is one of those guys that Coach Wilson talked about. He thought that was a great move to put Campos where he did, and now he has to say, I guess I was right.
Yeah, it was a great move. Moving him out to the end was such a phenomenal decision, especially he's got such long arms. He can create separation and keep his upfield arm free.
Third down, handoff Zachary up the middle's got some space. He's going to be close to that first down. Can he get a third surge? And he's going to be short by about a yard. That was a great run by Zachary. And there are a whole lot of black shirts coming off the bottom there. I can't even tell you who made the tackle, Keith, but Nate Yenser, one of the last ones off.
Nate Yenser, this is an example of what a great football game is, and Dowling's going for it here on fourth.
On 4th and 1. Wilson looks to the sideline. He's got 18 seconds.
You just don't want to jump off sides here, and Dowling might be in a situation where they're going to try and draw somebody off here.
And they'll eventually just call timeout. Their plan was to try to draw him off. We'll take a quick break and come back. 6-0 Valley with 3:10 to play.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury. Whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
Back at Valley Stadium, Paul Yeager, Keith Bornes, Jim Kirby on this soggy Friday night of high school football on CISN. And the other game on the network tonight with video is Ankeny and Waukee. The Warriors lead 20-14. That one, a lot of scoring early on in this contest, and now it's kind of settled in as they're approaching halftime. Here, Valley 6, Dowling nothing. The Maroons got it to 4th and 1, and now they have lined up to punt. In to kick it is Dallas McCarthy. He stands back at his 15. The snap from Simpson. The kick is away. Another nice kick, fair catch called and made on that near side.
Noah
Barr, everybody. So now the Maroons have gone 3 and out on their first 3 drives of this contest. The Tigers have had an interception and a touchdown.
Coach Swenson was talking earlier when you asked about the weather, if people were going to be able to ignore it and play the game, and it certainly looks as though they are. But one thing that you have to remember, the ball crew is doing a wonderful job keeping some dry footballs in there.
They have a big job to do. Lombardi in the eye. Sends Morris from right to left in front of him. Handoff, Mason, and that's going to be tough sledding. Good stop behind the line of scrimmage by the Maroons, and that is one of those players, John Wagoner. He is one that Coach Swenson, I think, saw in his sleep all week watching the tape.
We were talking a little bit about Valley's offensive line. Sam McCune, the sophomore, being in there for the first start of his season, and he has an awful big task with that 6'5", 230 guy standing across from him.
Second down, 3 to the right. Lombardi goes to the outside, caught by his receiver,
Luke Matney,
who gets up across the 40. That'll bring up third, still long, but not as long as it once was.
Valley really trying to make some progress tonight with the short passes. And I would have to think that your game plan coming in tonight was going to be hitting the flats and getting the ball into your hands of your receivers. For them to be completing some of those longer passes tonight in the early routes, I think the playbook is wide open when it comes to any of your passing game.
3rd and 7, and it's a long 7. Roll out for Lombardi to buy him some time. He's going to throw it, Intercepted again by the Maroons. Picking it off is Marcus Miller. He came out of nowhere. Penalty flag at the end of the play. Lombardi rolled out to the far side, and Jim Kirby, I don't know if anybody wearing black saw that defender.
Right, Marcus Miller playing underneath again, just like Adam Lee was earlier. Came up with a big play, and I think we'll have a face mask on the end of that, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so that'll go and push this absolutely the best field position the Maroons have had. So now that's 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions by Rocky Lombardi.
They're calling it a 5-yard variety of the face mask, so he obviously did not grab onto it and shake him around a little.
So the drive will start for the Maroons at their 26-yard line of Valley, their absolute best starting position of the ball game. It's their 4th series here at the 1:34 mark, first quarter. Wilson from the gun gives it to Deskin up the middle. Deskin gets through the first push, the second, and he's darn near close to a first down. I think he got it up to the 15, and that's the Cole Deskin that the Maroons needed.
And to do that up the middle is a very impressive thing, but Deskin is so fast, he can hit a hole before it has an opportunity to close.
Hurry up offense, and before the snap, we have a whistle. I don't know if everybody was set. That's the up-tempo. That's something Coach Wilson talked about this week was tempo needed to be in their favor. They love to run it and keep teams ragged. Minute 16 to play. Maroons hop out and look to the sideline, looking to see if they're going to change the play. Trips or double to the left. They go Deskin around right side. Deskin puts his head down, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds inside the 10 by about a ball width.
If you want to talk about the speed that Deskin has, it was very evident right there as Campos, who is not a very slow athlete, was not able to get him, and he had a straight path to him.
Inside Deskin, and he's still on his feet, turns the other way, he's going to run into the end zone. Touchdown, Maroons. Oh, wow. Everybody going left. Deskin changes his mind and says, I'm going right into the end zone. And the Maroons, with the extra point, can take the lead here with 30 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Last time I saw a play like that, I think Marcus Allen did it in a Super Bowl.
That was impressive. McCarthy lines up for the extra point, and it's through and good. Maroons take a 7-6 lead, the final 30 seconds when we come back on CISN TV.
Here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury, whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it.
Welcome back to Valley Stadium. The Tigers gave it away on a interception twice. On the second attempt, the Maroons make the Tigers pay, and they score. Let's take a look at this replay again, Keith.
Yeah, Deskin is trying to go up the middle to the left, and as things collapse around him, he breaks out of that pile, and off to the right-hand side, and he got a great block by the wide receiver out there to wall off the edge. And if there's space, it's walled off. I think Deskin's going to exploit it.
Thunder and lightning, you pick which one's which. Both are dangerous. McCarthy, low liner, taken by one of the middlemen for the Tigers. That's Javon Mason. Goes right, cuts left, and then a sea of white comes toward him. Jim Kirby, impressive little drive there.
Well, you don't want Cole Deskin running downhill, at this point in the game, and it seems like the more contact he gets, the more excited and the more enthusiasm he gets for the game. You're talking about thunder and lightning. Jacob Zachary is 220. Cole Deskin is 210. I don't know which one's which. They both got incredible speed.
Deskin will talk about, we mentioned his ability to run for the Maroons. I've seen him at Drake a couple of times, both at state and at the relays. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. They go with Mason, trying to go off tackle, and then he meets, again, a host of tough defenders. Willie O'Hara. Also Jacob Hummel. Hummel has really come along for Coach Wilson in this squad.
Talk about a defense that really scraped and flowed to the ball well. The one thing that, they always talk about linebackers trying to scrape toward the ball, but a lot of times they have to get rid of the offensive line, and the defensive line has already taken care of that.
We've played one quarter. It's Dowling 7, Valley 6. This is CISN TV.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau's seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Dowling Catholic leads Valley 7-6. And Keith, what's gone right for these teams in the first quarter?
Well, what's gone right is Valley came out of the gate early, throwing the ball. They're trying to get as quick passes as they can, and if they're going to throw longer passes, it's going to be either in a 5-step drop or they're going to roll out, and that has worked pretty well, minus the 2 interceptions. What Dowling has done, their defensive line is making sure that the Valley's offensive line is working overtime, and their offensive line is getting such a push now with the changing of the backs. You're not really sure what you're going to get with either of those backs except fast, strong, hard running. And Dowling's running game is starting to take over the game.
Rocky in the shotgun. Looks to the right, or left, throws it. Heald catches it at the 30. And then a good open field tackle. Marcus Miller, the junior. Matney makes the catch. And a gain of maybe 5. It'll be 3rd and 9. Ball at the 31.
Willie O'Hara was standing there with the football in his hands, trying to maybe convince an official that it should be his, but ruled down by contact.
Lombardi's going to send 2 to the left and 2 to the right. Looks back up the middle, has to run, and then he is not going to go anymore. Huge play behind the line of scrimmage. John Wagoner for the Maroons, and Rocky ran right into it. Sacked all the way back at the 21. Loss of 10.
A great rush, and Ben Cooley Both the tackles, Ben Cooley and Sam McCune, have their hands full. The defensive line and the ends that Dowling is bringing are phenomenal athletes, and when they get a push going, the push is going to keep going.
We'll go to Jim Kirby after this in a moment to talk about what happened between the quarters here at the stadium, and we talked about it in our last game here. Short kick from Lombardi, but supremely high. Bounces, and that's going to take a Tiger roll. Huge swing in field position. That thing rolled almost 20 yards. Finally downed by the Tigers by Austin Cook. Jim Kirby, tell me what happened there between quarters.
After the first quarter, they had a nice ceremony for Tony Sherrata, who was the defensive line coach here for Valley. He died last March. They had Francie, his wife, and his sons and his family, his grandkids. Tony actually coached at Dowling. He graduated from Dowling. He played for Jim Williams, ended up coaching here at Valley. And I know Tony's looking down at us right now, and he's really proud of his defensive line.
D-line has some work to do now as the Maroons are starting to feel it just a little bit. Ball on the 23. They go right up the middle to, I think that's Zachary, and he is going to be stamped return to sender. Huge play right up the middle, Ben Campos.
And Nate Yenser got in on that play as well. He filled very quickly from that linebacker position.
Wilson keeps it and won't get anywhere. He doesn't even really get back to the line of scrimmage.
A nice job up front, sustaining the blocks by Dowling. As Wilson made that turn and headed out toward the sideline, Will Phillips from Valley did a great job coming up and making the hit. Great tackle.
And this has looked a lot like the way the Maroons have had their offense go in this first quarter, except for the touchdown. It's been 3 and out. Can they break the streak? Zachary gets it. He's hit and keeps the legs moving, and he'll be well short of the first down. One of the last ones off the pile for the Tigers is Austin Fest, the senior. And it'll be again 3 and out for Dowling Catholic.
I think when you look at this game and you think about what the defensive sides of the football for both Dowling and Valley are doing, I think most people were going to expect a low-scoring game. It has been so far.
We've seen this contest several times separated by 1, maybe 2 points. It's McCarthy again for the 4th time tonight. Gets it in, a little low liner. Barr gets close to it, probably a little too close to it for the coaches. But Jim Kirby, that series kind of made a huge difference on the punt, kind of put the Maroons back.
Right, and you'll notice what's happening on defense. The Maroons are dropping people back in coverage. They feel that they can handle the run with their front line. And then on the Valley side, they're putting 8 men in the box and seeing if they can make Ben Wilson throw the ball. So you're seeing both defenses adjusting to what the other team's showing them so far.
Chess match, absolutely, is what we have here tonight. And the Tigers are going to come back out trailing 7-6. It was a blocked extra point. The snap wasn't any good. Kind of set off Hahn, and by the time Hahn got his foot into it, he had no chance to put it over the defense. And that's the difference in this contest. Mason goes in motion on the jet play, gets it on the sweep, puts his shoulder down across midfield into Maroon territory, up to the 47-yard line.
A nice job setting up that sweep. One of the things that has been very difficult for Valley is running up the middle. You still have to get your running backs involved. They are too good to just sit back there and try and draw a decoy. And if you're not going to use them, the defense is going to be on Lombardi all night. That was a great job getting a push by the edges and receivers moving the ball upfield.
Mason again in that right slot. Fugate goes in motion. This time they're going to run it with Trey to the right side. Trey's got the first down and more. If he can just hang on to the football, is what the coaching staff would say. And it's inside the 40 to the 36-yard line. Gain of 11.
Valley now trying to do a little bit of their own version of Dowling, but the difference right now is they had both of the backs in at the same time, so you're not really sure which direction they're going to go at the start. You got to be, you got to stay honest. You can't lean one side or the other just based on who the people were in. They were very balanced up from the skill position.
1st and 10 from the 37. Tigers have it on the Maroon side of the football field. Play action. Rocky throws. And I'll tell you what, Morris had an escort there, maybe a dance partner of some kind. No call. That's a good call. That was not interference. And it doesn't matter what I think because I'm not wearing the stripes.
Well, right. But, yes, it wasn't a slow dance. They were both moving very quickly. Nothing comfortable or casual about it.
When's homecoming?
I believe it's in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Should be some big fun festivities.
You know, if they didn't have football, there'd be no homecoming. I know a certain coach that said that a time or two. Fake to Mason, keep by Lombardi. And the Maroons are there. Mitchell Riggs wraps the ankles. Gain of 2 to the 35.
You know, I was listening to Jim Kirby on the sideline.
The Shields sideline.
The Shields sideline. For a distance guy, for a running guy, he gave some pretty expert analysis.
Timeout on the field. That's really good way to poke him and then go to break. Good job, Keith. We'll step away for a moment. Dowling leads Valley 7-6. Back after this on CISN TV.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us. Or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing. 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing. Your size, your style, we've got it all.
Jim Kirby on our Shields sideline tonight. And what do you think, Jim?
I just don't think Keith wants me to talk because he throws it to me right before the break. When you're the fourth team defensive back on a football team, you have a lot of time to analyze football and kind of listen to the coaches, and then every now and then you get a play. But let's just say I had a lot of time to listen and learn about the game, not so much play it.
And you played in this game, right?
I was on the sidelines for this game.
Sideline for this game.
That's right.
Good to know. Because Keith and I, neither one of us played in this game. You've coached in it.
Coached in it.
I've called about 10 of these. Lombardi, back to the left, rolls, flushed out, escapes. Houdini, Hinkle caught at the 20, inside, steps out of bounds at the 19. Enough for the first down. The Tigers will move the chains at 6:30 to go in the second quarter.
On that particular play, Rocky Lombardi escapes out of the rush of Dowling. He's got plenty of field to run, and yet he decides to throw the ball. Most coaches are going to say that is a very ill-advised pass, but I don't know that we're going to argue with Rocky Lombardi just right now.
Sometimes Lombardi's got to get a little creative, and that's what he's had to do. Swung out to Mason, caught, spun around, and then dropped.
I think a lot of people have seen Mason spin out of that tackle. So for linebackers and D-backs to come up and make a play like that, that's pretty impressive. That's saying a lot about your tackling ability.
2nd and 8 from inside the 20. 6:03 to play. Signals coming in from the sidelines, both ways, offensively and defensively. Can hear coaches yelling up here. Mason up the middle, puts his head down, and then can't get any further. And is that who I think it is? Yeah, coming in is Bell. Elias Bell is somebody that Coach Wilson really likes his play. And you can see he has jammed up pretty much everything tonight.
Yes, that middle is not a very advantageous place to run for Valley right now.
Look for Tigers to roll something out. They throw it out the front. Fugate, not really sure he ever had his eyes fully on that football. You got to catch it before you can run. Incomplete, so it'll bring in the kick team for about a 39-yard field goal attempt.
And I'm kind of breathing a sigh of relief personally up here. For all you young running backs, anytime a swing pass is thrown, and we have to remember that Trey is a young running back, if it goes through your hands, just jump on the ball. It may have gone backward for a fumble.
I think he went after it a little bit. Cole Haan will line up to kick a 34-yard field goal from the right hash. The kick is good. The snap is up, and the kick is good, and the Tigers retake the lead.
Kind of the back and forth scoring that you would come to expect in Valley Dowling.
9-7. Lots of fun here in Valley Stadium. Come back and join us here on CISN.
This is Iowa. And here, we don't just dream of a better tomorrow, of a smarter way to do business or live, of perseverance and progress. We inspire it in others. We challenge the conventional, reimagine what it means to be better, and then dare ourselves to make it great. This is Iowa, and here, we don't just dream, we make history.
8 plays, ends in a Cole Haan 34-yard field goal to give the Tigers a 9-7 lead. 4:59 to play here, second quarter. Paul Yeager, Keith Bornis, Jim Kirby, Eric Fishback doing all the hard work tonight. I'm just sitting here.
So last night,
a
5-point game.
Freshman game.
Earlier this evening, a 5-point game. I wonder if that is a sign of things to come.
Haan does what Haan does and puts it in the back of the end zone. Jim Kirby down on that Shields sideline. Jim?
Well, you guys were talking about Elias Bell. The defense for Dowling has some interesting names for their positions. Elias Bell is the whip. John Wagner is the stud. Jacob Hummel is the rover. Mitchell Riggs is the will. And Jack Bertram is the bandit. Oh, wait, one more. Connor Pitts is the Mike. Now, I don't know what those mean. Certainly haven't had those kind of names when I was playing. Rover sounds familiar, but those are obviously important calls for the Maroons.
Red Rover. Send Jim right over.
Indeed, indeed.
We'll get into that in a moment. Wilson at quarterback goes to Deskin, who tries to get the outside. The play is strung out, but Alnaba says, no way, Jose. Out you go. Big play. That was a big-time play, and Naba was a concern for Coach Wilson.
And is a concern of anybody. He's got great size. He's got great strength. He can throw the shot put out there 56, 7, 8 feet. And, oh, yeah, he's also a sprinter.
8th grade champion. And the Maroons are going to have to take a timeout. Personnel issues there. Valley leads Dowling 9-7. Back after this on CISN TV.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Valley leads Dowling 9-7. 4:21 left before the half is what I just tweeted on CISN TV. Send us a shout out where you may be watching tonight. The thousands of you who chose to stay in or maybe are outside of the area. Hello to our friend Jeff down in Missouri, able to watch us tonight. I know He had his football game last night because of the rain. They were worried about the conditions. Handoff again for the Maroons is stopped by the Tigers. Deskin again. This time it's the other defensive tackle, that kid named Ben Campos.
You know, Ben Campos is also a fairly decent wrestler. Well, when he was wrestling. And he definitely greeted with a bear hug there. That could be an interesting matchup all night.
The Maroons have gone backwards 7 yards on this play. 3rd and long. They're going deep down the near sideline. Incomplete coverage. Noah Barr. Intended receiver for the Maroons is Don Brown, the 6'2 senior wide receiver. And again, the Maroons are going to be forced to punt the football away.
I'm almost speechless. It was a well-designed play. Receiver getting downfield. A ball that was delivered well. Just great coverage. I guess I wasn't speechless.
I was just going to say, I think our wives would both say neither one of us are speechless. Ball almost hits a Tiger, and the Maroons give good chase, good coverage down that sideline. Moses Duah. What do you think of that speed there, Jim Kirby?
He's got a lot of speed, you know, and I was just going to say how many players on both sides are track athletes. You know, that wasn't necessarily the case even, you know, a few years ago. I think coaches are getting the idea and getting the hint that it's good to have your athletes as multi-sport athletes, especially track. Plenty of them on the Tiger side, plenty of them on the Maroon side.
Dowling has gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possessions, 3 and out. Tigers have the football, the 33-yard line, their side of the field. Handoff, Mason, and he is hit, stuffed, and stamped for down. Oh, Bell. Good play.
Yeah. Dakota filled. I think I felt that up here, Paul. And you could see it setting up. When Mason started to break into the line, it was a freight train coming right at him. Nobody had a hand on him. Nobody stopped him. And if I missed anybody that tried to, it didn't happen for very long.
Down the middle, and it is. They're going to call it a catch. Austin Hinkle up to the 45. They'll say it's at the 46 of Dowling.
Think there's going to be some Valley faithful breaking out into a beautiful rendition of Hinkle Football Star.
How's that one go?
I'm not 100% sure how the rest of it goes, but I've heard the front of it a couple of times.
Pick up at 23 yards. Again, rolled out. Matney catches it. Sheds one tackler, but not two. And that's Mitchell Riggs and Jack Bertram there to make the stop for the Tigers. Gain of maybe one. We have a whistle down on the field.
We're maybe going to take a look at the replay of Hinkle breaking downfield. You can see Lombardi is taking a couple of steps back. He's going to have to step up into the pocket. Hinkle breaking free in there, and what concentration to come down. He sold out on that reception and made a great catch.
Good look from the crew there. Thank you, Eric.
So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros, and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time.
Tigers, 2nd 8.
Hey, you guys are dogging it back.
Little more time, back foot throw, and that's a good no call down that near sideline. Is I think Matney just kind of got tripped up in that turf. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down.
We do have a friend of ours that's sitting down here not too far from us again that he certainly did not agree with the no call there.
He didn't like my assessment of that play?
I'm not sure that he and you were on the same page.
That's okay. Rain's starting to pick back up here a little bit. 3rd and 8 from the 44-yard line. 2:29. Valley leads 9-7. They've scored a touchdown and a field goal and had an extra point blocked. Got to hurry, do the Tigers. Fumbled snap, and if Mason can pull some type of trickery, he can get out of it. And he's going to be lucky, and I mean lucky, to only have a 1-yard gain. That easily could have been a 15-yard loss all the way back to the 40.
Yeah, it's not always advised to make things up as you go. We typically have a scheduled play, a planned play. But those broken plays, if you're magical, like Dowling's got a couple of running backs that are, Valley's got a couple that can be, you can kind of get back there. Paul, we need to maybe revisit the 3 rules of the kicking game, because the third one happened both on 2 successive punts now, and some yards were lost.
Lombardi gets a kick that somehow just sits like a good golf shot. He just put some backspin on it, bounced at the 15. That's where it's downed as well. What do you think, Jim Kirby? That's, what would you call that, a good 8-iron, 9-iron shot?
It looked like a nice wedge. You know, the Tigers are lucky because I don't think Rocky Lombardi was really looking for the snap. I think it came way too soon, and being the athlete that he is, he was able to scoop it up and get off a decent punt.
What do you think here in this final 90? You think, what do the Maroons got to do to get the football moving?
Well, you know, their passing game isn't quite what they have needed here in the first half, but boy, they can come up with something. Watch for Jacob Zachary here, see if he can get something going.
Wilson in, gives it to Zachary. He is. They come around that outside edge, so the Valley Tigers are crashing from the ends.
And that's kind of the game plan. Valley does not want either of the backs from Dowling, Zachary or Deskin, to get outside, because there aren't very many people that can catch them. And so draw him back into the strength, which is the middle of your line.
Somehow Zachary gets it. He's got a seam, and if he can keep on his feet, he's got a lot of yard. That hole was there, but there was one Tiger that kept him from going much, much further. I'm not sure if it was Sam Rogers.
It looked like Sam Rogers.
Sam Rogers is the one who made the tackle at the end. But it was a pickup of 9. It'll be 3rd and short, about a ball, half of a ball length. Ball is at the 24. They go back up the middle, and they're not going to get it. The Tiger defense holds the Maroons. Coach Swenson gets a timeout with 23 seconds. He's looking at points now.
Yeah. Brendan Rowe and John Mahoney teamed up on a great stunt. Mahoney coming in from the defensive backfield. Brendan Rowe coming in from the linebacker spot. Anytime you call a stunt, you really have to guess right. And that's one of the things that the defensive coaches from both sides, from both schools, understand, and they typically do guess right. They know each other that well.
Thank you to our folks that bring us this broadcast: Fireplace Superstore, the Westside Auto Pros, Shields, the Better Business Bureau, Godfathers, Mid-American, Schottenkirk, and G&L Clothing all season long here at games you see out of Valley Stadium and games you see out of Waukee and Johnston and Southeast Polk, and here games in Ankeny. That's where Tony Etsetti is tonight. Also, you'll see a Dallas Center Grimes. As we look at that Ankeny-Waukee score, it's 28. Is that 21-20 Ankeny? All right, watching it there. Dar Danielson has the call. And so now the Tigers have the punt return team on the field with 23 seconds. McCarthy on to kick again. And the Tigers are going to go for the return. It goes over Hinkle's head. And that is going to probably change this strategy all the way down inside the 10. The Maroons, 10 seconds, 9. And now the Tigers are going to have to just down it. Not the way that Swenson was, I think, thinking there.
Not so much.
Great punt by the Maroons.
Paul, what are the 3 rules to the kicking game? Number 1, do not be offsides. Number 2, do not rough the punter, the kicker or the holder, and number 3, never let the ball hit the ground. Typically, it's a 15-yard loss that you have. Tonight, we've probably averaged almost 20, 25 yards on extra ball rollage.
Is that a term you're going to trademark?
I haven't really decided. I need to check in with my official language expert, Matt Ross, and he'll have to see what type of word that really is. Rollage. And Rocky does take a knee as we're going into the half.
We're going down to Jim Kirby. He's chasing Gary Swenson. They're right there in front, and they'll take a walk together. Jim Kirby.
Coach, is it about what you expect of the first half from the Maroons?
Well, I'll take that. I mean, we expected a low-scoring game. I thought our defense could keep us in it first half. We did some good things when we had the ball. The 2 turnovers hurt us. I don't think if we don't throw that pick, I'm not sure they're on the board. So we got to take better care of the football. But we're fighting hard and we're competing. I like our chances to be in this thing till the end.
Pretty happy with your offense and defense so far then?
Yeah, I am.
Good luck in the second half, Coach.
Valley leads Dowling 9-7. That's Jim Kirby on the Shields sideline. This is my year, and this is a game the Tigers are absolutely in. I think there's a few that kind of thought it was going to be this close, Keith.
Well, yes. It was one of those years that the people that you talk to and who've been around Valley Dowling for a long time, if you talk to Valley people, you're looking at them and they're saying, hey, this game's got to stay close for Valley to have a chance. If it gets away early or something, if it's going to be a wide point margin, Dowling's probably going to run away with it. And if you're talking to Dowling people, because everybody has that fear of the big play offense that Valley can have, we've seen Lombardi throw it down the field extensively. He's got good receivers. We've seen Heald come up with a great catch for a touchdown. We saw Hinkle Football Star come down with a great catch in the middle of the field. So there's big play offense capabilities there. So Dowling people are thinking if it's close, they have a chance, and if it gets away, Valley wins big. So both sides are looking at it from the same perspective. But the coaches, when you ask them, they kind of hit it right on in the pregame. Dowling's got to establish the run. Valley's got to establish the pass.
All right, we're at halftime, and we got all sorts of things cooked up for you. I believe the band is not playing here at halftime, so there goes that plan out the window. But we'll update you on some other scores and get you caught up on.
Paul, you have to remember, if Plan A fails, there could never have been a Plan B, Plan C, Plan Z.
We'll find out what those plans are when we come back. Valley leads at halftime, 9-7 here on CISN TV.
Repeat and referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now, and after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none, and we're committed to it, and I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us, or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Back at halftime, Paul Yeager here as Valley leads Dowling 9-7. Joining us now is the soon-to-be fourth member of this broadcast team and sometimes third member, depending on the crew, Kathy Towner, goalie. And good to have you here, Kathy.
Nice to be here.
What do you think of this first half?
Well, I was excited.
Hold on. Before we got to get the thing closer.
Okay.
There you go.
There.
See, when you're
now
holding the
I can
mic on the sidelines, different than it is up here.
Yeah, I haven't done this.
I know. We just got to help you out. First half thoughts.
First half thoughts. Well, can you hear me now?
I hear you just fine.
Right. Okay. All right. There was a lot of rollage on the football out there.
So rollage is a word?
I'm saying it's a word. I'm going with it is a word. No, I don't think the rain was a factor yet. It might be in the second half. And I think that the teams are getting used to playing at some level that they weren't used to playing at before, maybe, trying to figure each other out.
And sometimes, but neither team is there was a 35-point rule in play for Valley in week 1, but last week both teams had to play the whole game.
They did.
But they weren't playing against this tough of a competition.
Right, and they don't. They just
you've seen this game a few times.
Yeah, and so this is always this way. And they get to this point, game 3, and it just takes it takes the lineman time to figure out, what it's going to be like and what they have to do to make up for that. I just think it takes some time. And so we're starting to see the better play as the second half comes up.
You've had two boys go through the Dowling program. You've watched Valley play for a number of years. For you, what goes through your mind when you think about this rivalry?
It brings back all, and for anybody that's ever been a part of it, it brings it all back. And you can see it with the crowds. They're out there in the rain, in droves, and they don't care. They are football fans. And so the rivalry is the best in the nation, and I follow it like everybody with a passion. So it's exciting, and it really matters if you start to know the players. You got to take, if you're out of the program for a while and you want to really enjoy the game, you kind of got to get to know the players again.
And that's something that is fun for when you had the boys, and they were on some incredible teams. Kind of the start of that run of Coach Wilson here, but Dowling was able to kind of take the mantle and step to the level that Valley had been at. Dowling had always been at a good level, but here in recent times it seems like it has swung maybe more towards the Dowling side, but clearly tonight anybody can win on any night.
Well, anybody wins this game. And this game is up for grabs every year. I don't care what year they're in. Or
who's favored or who's won state titles.
It does. Yeah, it's just that kind of a game. And so that's why the intensity all week long. A lot of it does depend on the preparation these kids went through to get here, and some of it's in here.
What? It's between the ears? Keith's never said that.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this contest, second half, you're talking about the two teams kind of feeling it out. That whole cliche of we're going to do these adjustments at halftime. What will be those cliche adjustments made at halftime?
Ooh,
okay,
wow.
if you're Coach Wilson in the locker room right now, you've had, I believe, 6 punts.
Yeah.
You haven't, short of that interception, as Coach Swenson said, he doesn't think they score. So all of a sudden, if you're Dowling, you've got to maybe try something different on offense? Question mark?
That's kind of maybe not what I would be saying. I think these kids need to be more confident with what they've done. They need to act a little quicker, a little more instinct, and so and be a little more confident with every play they make. One missed tackle better not happen again, right? And he knows now, and that's that's how that will go. It won't happen.
All right, you're Coach Swenson now. What are you talking about at halftime?
I'm really talking them up. I'm not saying anything negative at all because they're doing a great job. And so both teams, like I said, I think will benefit from staying the track. I think they just do what they've been doing, but do it better.
Early on, it looked like that Lombardi was maybe doing more rolls, but now it looks like the Dowling defense has kind of kept him in the pocket. They've kept him in the pocket. And Rocky's not been as efficient in the second quarter.
Right, and that's the line too. It's everybody figuring out what everybody else is about to do, and so you're down there, and half of your job is to kind of guess what they're going to do next. And so as they get better at that guessing game, then the plays will have to change up a little bit.
All right, you having fun yet?
I'm having a blast.
It's kind of different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the rain doesn't stop anybody.
Yeah.
It's just, and I think it's kind of stopped. No, it's still raining.
I know. Yeah, if you don't look at it, if you don't look in the lights, you don't notice it. And I'm not bringing it up to Jim, even though he thinks I do all the time.
Yeah. That's great. It's good stuff. It's been a fun thing.
All right, Kathy, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Catherine Towner, goalie, with us, and you'll hear her on the sidelines in games to come this season as we continue to expand here on CISN.TV. We'll check the break. We'll come back in just a moment. You're watching CISN TV here from Valley Stadium. How'd that go?
This is Iowa. And here, we don't just dream of a better tomorrow, of a smarter way to do business or live, of perseverance and progress. We inspire it in others. We challenge the conventional, reimagine what it means to be better, and then dare ourselves to make it great. This is Iowa. And here, we don't just dream, we make history.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury, whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
Hi, we're the Waters Boys. I'm Todd. And I'm Thad. The best deals on Buick and GMCs are right here at Waters. Waters Autoland, 8 miles south of Des Moines, Indianola.
Catch the wave to Waters. Waters Autoland.
Valley leads Dowling 9-7 here at Valley Stadium. Jim Kirby is positioned underneath the goalpost, and he's waiting for coaches to come out. So, Jim, when you have somebody, we'll go to you, all right?
I'll let you know.
All right, Jim Kirby down on the sideline tonight as we keep an eye. No band performance here tonight, so I can't show you the band like I wanted to. And they didn't want to show you their new uniforms again anyway.
That's right.
All right, take a look at halftime here. And as we do a quick look, I'm just going to look at possessions here as teams make their way out. And Valley goes 3 and out, or Dowling goes 3 and out to start the game. Then Valley throws an interception, first of the year for Rocky Lombardi. Then Dowling 3 and out and a punt. Then Valley scores in a 3-play drive on a touchdown to Braden Heald, 26 yards. Valley 6-0. The extra point is blocked. That was 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Then Dowling 3 and out again, punt. Interception again. Valley was driving in that drive on that possession. Turn it over. Then Dowling a 3-yard play. Touchdown run by Cole Deskin. 7-6 Maroons at that point with 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. We begin in the second quarter. Valley goes 3 and out on a punt. Then Dowling 3 and out on a punt. And then it was a field goal of 34 yards by Cole Hahn that makes the difference. 9-7 at the 4:59 mark in the second quarter. And we're going to go down to Jim Kirby as he makes his way to head coach Tom Wilson. Jim Kirby.
Coach, any surprises that the Tigers pulled in the first half that you weren't ready for?
Well, their style of play is a little bit different. They're attacking us outside, a little bit more motion than what we have seen in the past. But they're doing a great job at the line of scrimmage, and us not so much.
Things to emphasize in the second half?
We just have to win the line of scrimmage. Defensively, I think we're doing fine. Offensively, we got to do a better job.
Good luck, Coach.
Well, you could say that. Thank you, Jim Kirby, down on the sideline. Keith, you could say that. Both of these teams are struggling with the offense, which is, I believe, something I said maybe, 9 times last week for Valley.
Yes. We know. We know who we are. Dowling knows who they are. All of the people watching and in the stands think they have a pretty good idea what both teams can do. But the people who are watching them day in and day out, week in and week out, understand, yes, right now, both offenses are a little bit suspect to either a passing game or to a running game. But and everybody saw that, and so everybody wanted to see what was going to happen when Valley and Dowling finally met. And I think what people are very pleased to see on both sides of the ball is that the defenses are probably as good as everybody was hoping they were. When you play against yourself in a scrimmage, when you play against some teams that either were not quite ready to go when the season began or didn't play well, you just don't know how good your defenses are, even if you hold them to limited points. But we're finding out tonight that both defenses truly are as good as they were billed to be.
Well, and I think Valley, they are basically daring Ben Wilson to beat them.
Yes.
And they're crashing the ends. I think you're seeing a lot of that. I mean, Campos is a guy that you've got to be concerned. And we've only said Naba's name once, maybe twice up the middle. But you know that he's doing a good job in that middle because Zachary's had a hard time running up there. Zachary, as I do a quick look at some of these, really the biggest plays, second drive of the game for Valley, they had a 25-yard play followed by a 6-yard run and a 14-yard pass. They were moving the football. They were all the way down to the Dowling 29 when Rocky throws his first interception of the year. But, man, Dowling hasn't been – there was one time they were at 4th and 1, and you thought they were going to go for it, and then 4th and 2. Otherwise, they have been going backwards for a lot of this contest.
Right, and, Coach Swenson said it going into half, and you guys talked about it at halftime up here. The big question that Gary had was, if we don't throw an interception on the Valley side of the ball, maybe Dowling doesn't get that score. So the change of field position and the starting points of your offenses has been quite a factor tonight.
2 interceptions for Lombardi, 1 touchdown pass, and that was to Braden Heel, 26 yards back in the half. We're going to step away for our final break and have half number 2, Valley Dowling, when we come back on CISN TV.
The other guys, they think they know what special means. At Godfather's Pizza, we do special, and we do it better. We add the T. There's a Godfather specialty pizza with your name on it. Classic combo, all meat combo, hot stuff, taco, yeah, even veggie and more. All of them piled high with the best toppings and 100% real cheese. Treat yourself special. Order specialty pizzas from Godfather's Pizza.
This is Iowa, and here we don't just dream, we make history by nearly doubling our clean energy as part of our 100% renewable vision. With this, our energy costs will remain some of the lowest in the nation. We'll create new jobs and boost economic growth. Our air will be cleaner, our state stronger, and together we'll advance this country's energy future forever. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Repeat and referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now, and after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none, and we're committed to it. And I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us, or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
Welcome back, Valley Stadium. A pleasant good evening to you from West Des Moines, Iowa. Central Time Zone, United States of America, 9:09 in the Midwest. Rain is slightly falling here. The sky is completely dark. The lights are illuminating Valley Stadium's turf, which is green, aligned, and surrounded in orange and black. We are at the home of the Valley Tigers, who get the football first. Hinkle takes the kickoff over his back shoulder and returns it all the way up to the 30-yard line, a return of 21 yards. Jim Kirby is the third member of our broadcast crew, and he is down on the sidelines with this report.
The wind just seems to be picking up just a little bit here in the second half. It seems to be going left to right as you're watching on the screen. It's not a terrible factor, but I think it'll have a factor when punting and throwing into it.
Other scores of note also on CISN. Let's see. Marshalltown leads Waterloo East 49-0. That's in the third. It's Waukee 20, trailing Ankeny now 21-20. What's the score? Just changed?
28-20.
28-20 Hawks. They're looking for their first win. Ball is on the turf, but the officials will say that that was down by contact. So we'll do it again. Second, Lombardi's carry, and he loses a yard.
Kind of a do-over, but loss of down do-over.
Yeah, not the way you want to start it if you're a fan of the Tigers. Loss of 1. Offensive line has been a question mark for Coach Swenson this season. And tonight, they just are trying to bend, not break. That pressure from Dowling, look for them to bring some right up the middle. They go Mason right off right tackle, and he is going to get barely back to the line of scrimmage.
And did a nice job getting there. I mean, it is it's like a tractor pull.
And we haven't even really discussed this offensive and defensive line for the Maroons. Peter Nank, he's committed to Miami of Ohio. Zach Ross has a defensive, those are their offensive line. The defensive line, John Wagoner, has offers from Iowa and Iowa State. Mm-hmm. The whip, Elias Bell, he is very explosive, possibly headed to college to play. I mean, there's at least 4 Division I athletes on the field. Pass is thrown out Trey Fugate's way. It's incomplete. And the Tigers are going to go 3 and out to start the second half.
Not the offensive show that Valley wanted to put on the field right now, but Dowling defensively really stuck in there, and a lot of times just the way you play, the way you come out of the locker room kind of sets that tone, and Dowling's defense certainly set a tone there.
Lombardi will be back to punt at his own 15-yard line at the 10.5 mark here in the third quarter. Lombardi gets that foot into it, and it's going to be taken back at the 37-yard line by the Maroons. And returning it about 3 yards is Jack Kerner. And he is one of those guys who has really come on here as the season, a lot of injuries last year, come back, and he has been outstanding on that Maroon defense.
And able to step in as a senior. Coach Wilson was talking about the seniors wanting to make sure that they remember their senior year, not their junior year. They want to write their own story. Yes, coming into your own is a great thing.
Deskin goes to the left side. He is just strung up. No chance to find any real estate on the south side.
And that's one of the things that Valley's defense is trying to do tonight is when they're going to have a team that is going to try and run right off tackle, they want to try and stretch that out. They call it spilling it out to the sideline and having your defensive backs being able to come up and make the blocks, and the outside linebackers come up and make tackles as well.
Wilson's going to throw the football down the field, and it's caught by the Maroons. Cole Billings Penalty flag, though, is down. And that'll free up some space. Ineligible man downfield by that good offensive line of the Maroons. And a sigh of relief comes out from the near sideline.
Yes, that is one of those penalties that is just heartbreaking.
You just said it right there. Right there.
It's so deflating because you don't look at that as just being a 5-yard penalty. You look at where the ball was, clear down here on Valley's 40. Now it's back on Dowling's 36. That is more like a 20-yard penalty, 25-yard penalty than a 5-yard penalty.
Exactly. And that, but that gives you confidence that you can make that play. Again, handoff Zachary. And not switching series. They're just bringing him in now. And Zachary, Naba is in there. So is Tyler Lewis. So Zachary will make a third down here. And 12 to go. Gain of 6. Rolling out is Wilson, and then he is wrestled down. Campos. And I'll tell you what, there was a lineman for Dowling. Peter Nank, he was frustrated after that play. He felt he let the team down right there.
But blocking Ben Campos is no
not
easy
an easy
task.
thing.
Yeah,
no.
He did a great job. We talk about the extension he gets with his hands. He can create space, and he's got a good rush. The other thing he did was he set his feet and found the ball right away. He was able to shed that block and get the sack.
Dallas McCarthy, 7th punt of the night, is taken at the 30 on the near sideline. And wow, Noah Barr is drilled. What a special teams play, Willie O'Hara.
But if you think back to some of the previous punts tonight, I'm not looking at that as just a 5-yard return. I'm looking at that as a 30-yard save because the ball has had some incredible rollage tonight, and I challenge
Kathy
Matt Ross.
agreed with you. She called it a word.
Yes, I would, and I agree with Kathy. I think Matt is just looking at the wrong spelling of it. We got to get creative here, people.
What is it you teach again?
Not English.
Not English. Okay, just making sure for the record. 8:22 to play. Lombardi comes out. Rain ever so lightly falling here. Trips to the right. Rocky looks left, throws right, and it's incomplete. Far sideline going to Matney. And Matney is slow to get up.
And wobbly. I can't tell if it's kind of an ankle issue or if he came cramped up a little bit. Regardless, that ball had some heat on it, and Valley was lucky to have it not batted down. There was quite a rush that came from the outside off of Valley's right-hand side.
Do you think Lombardi, are they keeping him in the pocket, or is it more by design right now that he has not been rolling as much?
Oh, I think on some of these short passes, the shorter routes, they're trying to keep him in the pocket just to create space, help create space with the receivers.
Penalty flag comes in on the run. Mason is stopped again by O'Hara. Willie O'Hara playing in the place of Connor Pitts. O'Hara, 10.5 tackles. And I won't say in place of because Coach Wilson uses a lot of bodies in legal procedure. So this penalty will go against the Tigers, and they'll redo the down. It'll be 2nd and 15 back to the 30.
Sometimes with teams that have the big play potential, when it's 2nd down, it doesn't necessarily matter that it's 2nd and 15 rather than 2nd and 8. So sometimes it's more important for an offense to have the downs than the yards. I wouldn't say that's the steadfast truth, but sometimes it can come back to bite you.
Lombardi throws. It's caught. Far sideline by his fullback. Out of the backfield is Jacob Morris, 5'10", 220-pound senior. And he just put a head down and went.
And he is a load in his own right. He's a not one to shy away from contact.
No, he didn't there.
And because of that procedure call, instead of it being 3rd and 10, it's 3rd and 7.
Ball's at the 38. Lombardi, here comes some pressure, gets it away. Hinkle not going to be able to make the catch, but that's because great defense out there in the flats. Jack Kerner. Hey, and I want to let you know, to start the broadcast here, we'll post this game on YouTube, and you'll be able to watch it off the CISN website. I'll take a look at Valley Stadium in the daylight via a drone. You're going to be able to see some footage from a drone in this broadcast a little bit later as well. So I see something flying overhead, and it's not back behind me. Little sneak peek there. If you want to see it, stay tuned for some fun footage. If not, we'll be able to post it on that Facebook page of Central Iowa Sports Network, CISN TV, or on the website as well, CISN TV. Short kick high, fly ball, takes a tiger roll again, violating rule, is that number 3?
Rule number 3.
Okay, rule 3, don't let the ball touch the ground. And that rolled a good 17 yards, Jim Kirby, didn't it?
It sure did. We were talking about the defenses side to side. Both of these defense are getting it done. It reminds me of the old run games of the Metro Conference back in the day, back when I stood on the sidelines. Do you know that Valley loss that we suffered in 1977 that I'm already over? That was the first conference game that Dowling lost in 64 games, and I was on that team. It's embarrassing.
Maroons have the football. What if we found highlights of that? You think they exist? Are they on film, Jim?
Oh, my God. I hope not.
Hey, we've been talking about Deskin tonight. What
Right.
kind of an athlete is he on the track?
I'll tell you what, there's nobody that works harder than Cole. He's quick right from the start. It doesn't take him long for a kid his size and his build. I mean, he just gets it going right away. And the same with Jacob Hummel. Jacob Hummel's another great track athlete. He got hurt at the end of the season, but there's some athletes out there on both sides.
Now, Jacob Zachary, not on the track team. His other sport is
wrestling.
He's a wrestler, right?
Yeah, he's an above-average wrestler.
Yeah.
And all those Zacharys, how many Zacharys have we had come through the years?
This is 2.
There was several before that.
Yeah, David was his brother
Yes.
that was on Tom Wilson's first Dowling Catholic team back in 2005.
Right. And then there was a brother, I'm blanking on his name. Lucas, I think, was his name.
3rd down and 10 for the Maroons. They go misdirection. Pass is complete, but stopped well short of the line. 7-on-7. Noah Barr makes the tackle of Cole Billings. And it'll be a punting situation again for the Maroons.
A great job by Noah Barr out here in the flats. When you're looking at some of these obvious passing downs, you're trying to figure out what coverage you're going to go into, and they were in a cover 2 there with
which means
the corners are going to come up and play that flats, and they have 2 safeties in the back that are covering the halves of the field. And Noah Barr did a great job shedding that block and picking up the kind of a slip screen to the backside.
McCarthy punts it off the side of his foot. Barr and Hinkle won't get a chance, except, Hinkle thought about picking it up. And then the Maroons escort that ball all the way down to the 25. Duas, he outran the football because of his speed, Jim Kirby. But I tell you what, the punting game's been huge in this contest.
Well, that wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. I don't think we've really had a very pretty punt from the Maroons yet this game. But guess what? They get the bounces when they need them.
That's the 8th punt of the Maroons. We've had 4 possessions in this second half, gentlemen. All 4 have ended in what?
A punt.
A punt. So this is the old Metro Conference, Jim.
That's right. Without the sprinklers going off in the middle of the game, it reminded me of the old Valley Stadium where the track went behind the bleachers. I don't know if Keith was around for those days, the cinder track that went behind the far bleachers. It was more of a square than an oval.
Well, as long as it wasn't 100, then turn, 100, then turn, 100, then turn.
It almost was, though.
Lombardi throws, and it's underthrown, and he is darn lucky to get that one back. Great defensive coverage by a couple of the men in white and maroon, one of them being Marcus Miller. And also back there, Jack Bertram.
Right now, both offensive coordinators have to try and figure out what they are going to do to neutralize the defenses. They are just stifling on both sides, and both teams have been moving backward.
Mason goes out of motion, and before the play, there's a penalty flag. 4:42 to play. This broadcast brought to you by the Fireplace Superstore and Westside Auto Pros. And also Schottenkirk Chevrolet making tonight possible.
Paul, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this thing called the blind side.
The movie?
Well,
or
just the side that
my
the
inability to not pay attention.
The side that the quarterback typically does not see.
Correct.
And this particular play that just happened before the whistle was blown and the flag was thrown, there was somebody coming down on Rocky's blind side, and he was coming down hard.
Mason gets the handoff, and then Rocky Lombardi was so fast, he ran out to be a lead blocker on that play. Is that by design?
No, not typically. I think it's just Rocky wanting to do everything that he can for his team. And if you remember last week, people that were there watching, there were 3 occasions where Rocky was downfield 20 yards throwing a key block or assisting the runner to help himself down the field a little bit more.
Lombardi gets it out on 3rd down, and it's going to be well short. Morris, no chance there. Host of white shirts. They are just everywhere. The thing about this Maroon defense, Keith, is they just keep coming at you and coming at you. It's not just up front. It's in that secondary.
I would liken it to just a wave coming in, and after the first wave comes, there's another one and another one. You just cannot catch your breath. And if you will, and my good friend Matt Ross would have to check me on this one, but they could be drowning in a sea of white. Did that sound like an English teacher to you?
That sounds, yeah. You're bringing Shakespeare or something there.
A Rosselism.
Oh, that's almost over Lombardi's head. The roll punt. Rocky gets it away, bounces right in front of the Maroon sideline. That is the 5th punt of the game. I don't know, Jim. What do we talk about now?
Well, I think one of the things to watch in the second half of the game here is we talked about the small offensive line for the Tigers and the big defensive line of the Maroons. I think we might see some of the effects of that mismatch perhaps in this second half if we haven't already seen it. They have a lot of work to do in that front line with all those athletes coming at them like you guys have been saying in waves.
Well, and let's just see what teams do. We're still sticking. New quarterback for the Maroons. They go down right away. Double coverage. I think it's an interception. It is. And coming away with it for the Tigers, William Phillips.
What we saw on that play is they only sent one receiver deep. That would allow the Tiger defensive backs to have one defender on both sides of him. So it's kind of like in basketball when you're going to try and front the post. They had a receiver or defensive back on the downhill side of him, the upfield side, and they had one on the downfield side of him. And the upfield side was able to come away with an interception.
That was Charlie Redding who threw the INT, first of the game for the Maroons, and now the Tigers have it. Lombardi swings it out to Mason. Catch is made, and not much more than a yard, maybe 2, across the 30 before he is sent out of bounds. Willie O'Hara. 3:30 clock moving.
Kind of going back into the game plan that people originally thought was going to happen with just doing some quick passing out into the flats and trying to get your running backs some space to run.
67 yards to go for the Tigers to the end zone. Lombardi fumbles the snap, picks it up. The timing is thrown off. Let's see what he can do. He's just going to tuck it, run it, and tackled out of bounds on the near sideline by Mitchell Riggs, and there is a penalty flag. If you ask the Dowling coaches sitting to our right, I heard holding clearly through the wall. And I'm not saying go watch another game, but if you want to have a second browser, Ankeny and Waukee tied at 28. They're in the fourth quarter, 7:03 to play. And there was quite a few people watching here tonight on the website. Lots of traffic. Glad to have you here. Lombardi on the blitz, trying to run the screen, and he just got that one away. Mason could not get out of the escape. Good time to dial up the blitz. And coming there first was Jacob Hummel.
And it was a good offensive call by Valley to run a screen. The biggest problem, as you said, for Valley was that rush was coming so fast, he did not have a chance to set his feet and throw the ball.
Stop me if you've heard this before. One of the offenses ready to punt. Lombardi gets it away, bounces on the Dowling side of the field, and Jack Kerner, he wanted to pick it up off the bounce. Little Houdini style, Jim Kirby. How about that?
Well, I think his coaches would have wrung his neck if he would have tried that. That usually doesn't work out very well. One of the things I noticed in that last defensive stand for the Maroons is Jacob Hummel. We talked about his athleticism. He's all over the field, I'm telling you, and he's just showing off what a great athlete. He's an Iowa State commit, if I'm not mistaken.
Jacob Hummel, yes, is headed to Iowa State. Had 12 and a half tackles coming into this contest. Maroons, let's see who they bring back in at quarterback, and it is Redding. Redding, hard snap. Looks like he got everybody to jump, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Cole Billings. And the first two passes have been a little rough for Redding.
And now Dowling changing things up a little bit, trying to hit those quick hitters to the outside. Again, both sides offensively trying to find a crack in the defense.
Trips to the right. Redding in the backfield with Zachary. Second down. Go out to the near side. Caught and then dropped. Noah Barr has had an outstanding game in the secondary. That time again, Cole Billings, nowhere to go.
Yes, an outstanding job. Up in that press coverage, they had the trips out here, a bunch set out to the right-hand side, and Noah Barr just played right through that lead block and made a tackle.
Empty backfield now for the Maroons and Coach Wilson. Snap of the ball. Here comes some pressure. Redding's going to get away once, twice, and then Naba says, no. Clock moving under 2 minutes now. No gain on the play.
You know, Jim was talking about at some point your defenses are just going to get worn down. They're out here all night.
And your offenses aren't.
Right. So I guess statistically that would balance them out. They're both out there for 3.5 plays. And then they switch. 3.5 plays. Switch.
Barr and Hinkle back deep for the Tigers, standing inside the 40. McCarthy gets it away. Low kick. Hinkle all the way back to the 25. Going to have a little bit of a return. Makes one man miss. Looking for a little bit of space, and then he is wrestled out of bounds.
And pulling at his leg. He may have gotten rolled back on that, but
Hinkle will return a 5.
But he's up and moving around.
All right, Jim.
Well, I don't know. Ben Hinkle thought that was a good idea to try and make a double move as Jacob Hummel is breathing down his neck and unfortunately paid for it. He seems like he's okay. He's up walking around.
Valley has the football on the 31-yard line. Lots and lots of possessions tonight. Nobody having a sustained drive.
The yards per play, not all that large.
I'm going to guess we're to the point now we're averaging a yard a play. Mason, tough sledding again. He gets the average before he stopped Mitchell Riggs, 6'2", 215-pound linebacker. No. Did he even get the average? Yeah, maybe.
If it was a half a yard.
It's a half a yard. I think, yeah, not even the home scoreboard operator gives him a full yard.
It's never a good sign if the home clock operator's not going to help you out.
Lombardi throws it out to the far side, and catch is made by Heald, and then an excellent stop. Moses Dua.
A 20-yard throw for a half-yard gain.
15 seconds to play, third quarter. What do these teams have left?
At least one quarter.
They better.
That's right.
And that is going to do it for the third quarter. The final 12 when we come back. Valley leads Dowling 9-7 here on CISN TV.
This is Iowa, and here we don't just dream, we make history by nearly doubling our clean energy as part of our 100% renewable vision. With this, our energy costs will remain some of the lowest in the nation. We'll create new jobs and boost economic growth. Our air will be cleaner, our state stronger, and together we'll advance this country's energy future forever. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us. Or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
To the fourth quarter now. Valley still leads 9-7. A combined 15 punts between these two teams, Keith Bornes.
Yes, but as we were talking about, even though it is a defensive struggle, I am not bored at this game at all. Still waiting for a big play by either side to try and create some separation score-wise.
Lombardi throws it away on third down, so make it 16 punts to come.
Jeff Crawford was the receiver on that. Jeff Crawford, son of Lee Crawford, longtime Valley coach. And it was not necessarily a designed play to him, but I think it was a one-hand grab, so I got confidence in him. A lot of times they throw the ball to the sideline that goes to somebody that can't catch. I don't know why they throw them to him.
It's a good point. Why do you throw it to the guy standing on the sideline?
I don't know.
Because really, if he catches it, it doesn't do you any good.
Well, that's true enough.
Lombardi back to punt, back at his 18-yard line. And he gets a great kick away, almost as high as we are. Fair catch called for, but not made. And then downed. Well, now, wait a minute.
No.
That'll be back at the 31.
Yeah. The marker came out.
Yep. Jack Kerner called for the fair catch and then all of a sudden bailed on it. It took a Dowling bounce back to the north, Jim Kirby. So what do you think?
Well, I think Valley's punts are much prettier. That's one thing we could analyze right now. As far as the look of it goes, we're just tearing up each end of the field here. There's not much going on between the 30s.
This is the 17th possession of the Maroons. And it comes here at 11:37. The ball's on the 31-yard line of Dowling. 69 yards to go. And finally, a little bit of positive yardage. And a helmet comes off. And is that Deskin's helmet that came off? And Cole's going to have to go out. So Deskin gets a good hard 8.5 up to the 39. Second and short, handoff Zachary right side. He's got the first down, and that'll move the chains. That's the first, Keith, seriously, first down of the second half comes at the 11-12 mark here in the fourth quarter.
You just had to believe that a first down was going to be made. I'm glad we were not disappointed.
Gain of 6, Zachary again. He's got some more running room. He's across midfield into Valley territory up to the 45, almost 10 yards. This is really starting to throw off the averages. It is hard to get a tempo. That's what these Maroons want, is a tempo.
Yep, picking up the speed at which they're lining up. Valley's trying to get a couple of subs in. Now it's going to be just who can gut it out.
Deskin's pop spins, and he's still on his feet. Barr's trying to wrestle him down. He'll get him finally at the 37-yard line. Another helmet pops off. And this is the most offense we've seen by both teams combined here in the second half.
Now the gym analysis comes in here with, fatigue setting in. They've done more running on and off the field because of the yardage, but Dowling is getting a little bit of steam rolling here.
Deskin up the middle. That last play was good for 18. The one before that, 10. The one before that, 6. And the one before that, 8. I don't have any of those numbers written down here in the second half. The biggest play before that was a 7-yard pass. Deskin, right side. Still going.
Brings up a third and medium. Ankeny is over Waukee still in the fourth, 31-28. That is quite a ball game.
31-28.
31-28
Hawks
Ankeny
lead
right
the
now.
Warriors, okay. Ball's at the Valley 23-yard line for the Maroons. 3rd and 6, 9.5 to play. Redding hands off Zachary. Zachary bounces out right side, stopped. Gets it on the second effort. It's close to the first down, but he's going to be short. Can't get any further than the 20. Maybe to the north side. It'll be 4th down and a field goal opportunity if the Maroons decide to take it. Field goal would give them the lead. They trail by 2. Right now, the Maroons are having no part of it.
Yep, they're feeling like they're getting a bigger offensive push right now. 2 yards to go.
Dowling has to get to the 18. Redding spins. He fumbles the football, and he's not going to get it.
What a huge defensive stand by the Valley Tigers.
And it looks like they're going to give Nate Yenser. And, wow, big play there. That's a second guess, the way you've been moving the football.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing you're thinking you're going to be able to get 2 yards. So now you
and the other side of it, the weatherman on the sideline said that there was a wind.
I'm looking at those flags.
Well, they're at half staff. So we're not getting a big correct read on there, but maybe if there was a wind that he would have been kicking into, maybe they felt their chances of going 2 yards was better than kicking it 35 yards.
Tigers have the football at the 20, and they're going to be stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Bell, what a great play behind the line all the way back to the 15. Excuse me.
And it is frustrating. It's frustrating for your offenses to be putting forth as much effort as you possibly can. And it's just stagnating that you can't get the ball moving. If it does move, it's typically backward. It's a hard offensive night.
Toss left for Mason. No way, no how. Nowhere to go. John Wagoner, excellent play behind the line. Loss back to the 10. Loss of 6.
Boy, I tell you, pin back this deep, sometimes you don't feel half bad having Rocky Lombardi, your punter, as your quarterback, because if you deem it necessary, maybe a quick kick
I was just
to
about
get out
to
of
say.
here. But at the same time, you still have some pretty good weapons out here at receivers if you can just buy a second.
Trips to the right. Lombardi running, throws. He better get that, hope that gets out of bounds. Penalty flag, and that is going to be a safety.
It will be a safety. That'll be a very interesting discussion by the officials if they decide to do that. There was a receiver in the area, but they might be arguing the fact that he threw it so far out of bounds.
Well, you get your points back. Now we're tied at 9.
Gary Swenson is down there talking with the official, trying to get a clarification.
Just when you think you've seen it all. And now page 2.
Yes.
So now we're tied at 9. And the Maroons get the football.
And should be in pretty good field position.
Do you think if he doesn't throw the ball as high and as far to get it out of bounds, they call it?
Yes. I think if
just say it's closer to him.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason
you're
Lombardi
trying to make an effort at least.
That clearly looked like Lombardi was just trying to throw the football away to avoid the sack.
Mm-hmm.
But if he can get that thing closer, you can make the officials are going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But he also doesn't want to throw it short like that because the Maroons easily could have picked that off.
That's right. We're going to see what kind of leg Cole Haan has here. If he could put this into the end zone, that would be impressive.
So at the 7:19 mark, we're tied at 9. Haan tees it up at the 20. By golly, he gets it all the way back inside the 10.
But outkicked his coverage.
Lots of speed for Aaron Craw. Penalty flag comes out late. Craw returns it all the way to the 45-yard line. A return of about 38, and there is a Tiger down at the 45, and it is Austin Cook. And he was not moving those legs. I mean, he's moving. Well, maybe there's a reason that was such a good return. Block in the back called.
So that ends up being a 28-yard penalty. A great return. Cole Haan crushed that ball on the kick, but he outkicked his coverage, which allowed Dowling to set up a great return. He was able to run 20 yards before anybody was around him.
Ball back to the 23-yard line. 7:10 to play. Maroons have it. Zachary gets the handoff. And he gets a second effort, still on his feet. Third effort, fourth effort. He's got one tackle to beat, and he's finally brought down. Huge run. Zachary all the way up to the 45-yard line.
Dowling getting that great push from the offensive line, and they're seemingly well rested. They haven't been on the field all that much. It seems like the defenses have been out there all night, which of course they have.
Gain of 30 on the play. Going deep down the middle. Incomplete. Intended receiver for the Maroons was open. Don Brown was there. And now we have a Maroon down on that far sideline, just on the other side of the hash there. So we're tied at 9, 6:48 to play. We've only had two touchdowns, one by each team. Heald for Valley, Deskin for Dowling. A field goal and a safety and a blocked extra point. You make that extra point, it's 10-9 right now.
Not that you would have said early on that is one of those mistakes that could come back to haunt you. But they do say special teams are a third of the game, but I think it's been a lot more than that tonight. All of the field possession has been set up by the punting game. The incredible rollage that the ball has had as it hit the ground. Cardinal rule number 3.
And Jim Kirby, we'll get to you in a moment. That was Cole Deskin that went out. We'll come to you after this play, hopefully. 2nd and 10 from the 47. You know those Maroons, as soon as they get up to the line, they go. Charlie Redding still in there at quarterback. Handoff Zachary up the middle. He gets through. Jim Kirby, what do you know?
Well, what's happening down here on the sideline, that's Austin Cook, it's cramps. He had some problems with that earlier in the game, and I bet that's the same thing with Cole Deskin. One thing about the Maroons, I think Charlie Redding gives them a whole different look, but I think the Tigers are having trouble adjusting. He's a lot more flexible, and, he throws it down the field a little bit better than Ben Wilson.
Gives him a different look, that's for certain. Ball at the 43, 3rd down. Maroons out and up. It's not there. Redding's going to tuck it and run, and he's not going to get it. The out and up was called, and down on that far sideline, they were looking at throwing at Austin Fest's way. And so now the Maroons will punt it away here at 5:48. Clock moving. Back deep, Hinkle and Barr. Shorter kick by McCarthy. Taken at inside the 10 by Hinkle, and he steps out at the 9. He caught it. Could have been down inside the 1. All right, Jim Kirby down on the Shield sideline.
Well, I don't know if leg cramps is going to be something that people are going to have to worry about tonight. It's really quite comfortable down here, but when you play as long and as hard as these offenses and defenses are playing, especially somebody like Cook and Deskin, I mean, those things are bound to happen. And boy, I'll tell you what, Austin has a real serious set of cramps that he's dealing with.
What's the Jim there? I believe the Dowling trainer. They usually have that. They won't call it pickle juice, but they have a concoction of some sort that helps them for cramps.
I'm sorry, I can't divulge that information. That's unclassified.
Hand off Mason. Gets outside, finds a seam and an extra gear. Up to the 20, near a 1st down. And that is something we have not seen from Javon Mason all season. That was an all-out run.
It was. He was on his horse there and needs to be. If you're going to get to the edge against this Dowling defense, at some point you just have to run fast. Mason is one of those kids that does a great job of setting up blocks and trying to help create some gaps, but there just aren't any gaps right now in that Dowling defense.
5:08 to play, tied at 9. Valley comes up to the line. 10 on the play clock. Lombardi in the shotgun. Fake to Mason, roll out boot to the far side, throw across the middle, caught in stride to the Tigers up towards midfield, and Mr. Reliable, Braden Heald, comes through again for the Tigers up to the 48.
A well-designed play. One of the things that Valley was going to have to do tonight, either continue to hit those flats on some quick passes, try and spread the defense out. Regardless of what type of a pass pattern they were going to put into play, Rocky Lombardi has got to either create time by rolling out, or the offensive line has got to at least hold up that defense for a second so he can drop back and get some depth.
Lombardi on first down. Gives it to Mason off left tackle. Mason across midfield. Spins again 2-3 times Milady. Up downside to the 45-yard line before the tackle's made by Moses Dwa. And now, just like the Maroons in 2 series before, the Tigers feeling a little bit of offensive momentum.
Where did this drive start from? The 10?
It started back at the 10.
So it has gone 46 yards. That has to amass the offensive put out from the second half at least.
Gain of 8, 8.5. They're going to say short. They go Mason underneath. He spins around. Second and third effort, and then they're going to give him forward progress. Real interesting spot on that near side. And if the spot holds, that's going to be a first down. It is. That's got to be.
I'm looking right at it, Paul.
Chuck Britton's coming down.
Looks like they're going to measure.
All right. I don't know, Jim Kirby. What do you think? Is that a good spot or a very generous spot?
I was looking at it from an angle. They sure blew the whistle late, and you wondered where they were going to spot it. I don't know if you guys noticed Rocky Lombardi out in front of that play. If I'm Coach Swenson, I'm not sure if I'm excited about that.
He has been one of those guys that will get downfield and try and block and at least get a push. He's certainly assisting at trying to get the ball moved downfield with his backs.
It's short of the first down. And if hello to the folks watching the end of the Waukee-Ankeny game. The Warriors, a 48-yard pass with no time on the clock, complete a touchdown to win it. Waukee 34, Ankeny 31. That's a final. Waukee wins the ball game. So here we are, 3:36. Lombardi under center, pressures it up forward, gets second, third effort. He's going to spin, and boy golly, if they don't blow that play dead, he's still running. And Coach Swenson almost out to the numbers saying, hey, he'll take the first down, but he wanted more than that. Ball gets up to the 42.
Yeah, Coach Swenson was out there saying this is not his first quarterback sneak. It's not his first time running a football. You don't necessarily have to blow it while he's still moving forward.
First down, 6th play of the drive coming your way here right now. 3:20 to go. 9-9 is your score. Valley gave up a safety to make the game even. Back on their last possession. They held on defense and now moving it on offense. Handoff Mason gets through, and then he gets nowhere. And I got to tell you, Bell was there, and Elias Bell, Coach Wilson loves that guy and his ability and how far he has come in this program. He is dominating the inside of that line of scrimmage.
Whether you are a Valley fan or a Dowling fan, you are certainly going to remember what he has done tonight. Anchoring that defensive line, it's been impressive.
2nd and 11. Fugate in motion. Rocky's going to keep it. He's got a seam up the middle. 30, 20, one guy to beat. 10, inside to the 7-yard line. They'll give it the 6. That was a huge play for the Tigers.
Absolutely. What set that up, they have been running that sweep, the jet sweep motion, and they've had some success when they hit the edge in full speed. Rocky followed for just a second on that read option. It was probably more of a designed keep, and just blew through the middle. We were talking earlier, Rocky has some speed.
I've got it as a 37-yard gain for Lombardi. The box down the hall had it for 34. Lombardi throws to the far side. Hinkle has it, caught at the 5, and then he stopped right there in his tracks. Moses Dwa. What a play. They get 2. Clock moving, 1:43.
And Coach Wilson was out on the field calling that timeout. We have the replay up of that last play. You can see Rocky getting a block from Fugate as he came through the middle, and then it's just a question of, can he outrun him? Tries to get a stiff arm here.
And that's a touchdown saving tackle by Dwa.
That is a touchdown saving tackle.
Whew.
Truer words have never been spoken, Paul.
You're the greatest, Keith? Other than those?
No, that was a touchdown saving tackle. Now, we're also at that part of the field where your play calling becomes very, I don't want to say imaginative, but at the same time, the plays that have been working out into the flats sometimes don't always work out into the flats because when you're at the 5-yard line, your cornerbacks are not going to be 7 and 8 yards off the ball. They're going to be up at 3 and 4 yards off the ball because if they're back too far, a pass to the flats is going to be in for a touchdown. So they have to adjust their depth. And so at the deepest, they're going to play at the goal line. So the plays out to the flats where it's a long pass sometimes can end up in interceptions with the more of a press coverage.
Jim, what's going on down there?
Well, they put time back on the clock, guys. They put 7 seconds back on, so.
Lombardi handoff Mason off left side, 2-1. Touchdown Valley. Javon Mason.
I would have to say he ran with some inspiration on that play. And first contact was made about the 4, second contact made about the 3, and then he was able to roll into the end zone with a little bit of assistance.
The drive goes 9 plays, 90 yards, capped by a 5-yard Mason touchdown, and I can feel the press box swaying. The extra point is punked through the uprights. Valley leads 16-9, the final 1:42. We're just getting started here on CISN TV.
Repeat and referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now, and after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none, and we're committed to it, and I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us, or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
The replay here, we're going to see the handoff into Mason. He was able to drag the last tackler into the end zone and then was kind of wrestled down again in the end zone to finish that play. Paul, I was looking at that extra point that Cole Hahn had right here at the last touchdown, and I'm pretty sure he kicked the ball out of the stadium.
Jim Kirby, what do you think? Did he kick it out of the stadium?
Well, they very well could have. It's not that far, and with the way he's kicking tonight, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, it just seems like a switch went off here in the fourth quarter. The running backs started to have their way. Javon Mason for the Tigers having the better of it.
1:42 to play. Dowling needs to go 80 yards. First pass is short, incomplete, intended for Daniel Keogh. And it'll be 2nd and 10. Redding's pass well short of the mark.
This is going to be a time in the game where the defensive backs are going to be playing pretty well off the ball. They don't want to give up anything too deep. And so Dowling might have an opportunity to set some plays up underneath with 1:38 to go and 2 timeouts, there's plenty of time left.
Handoff, Zachary, left side, still running, escapes 1 tackle, but not 2. Noah Barr. What a stop. I tell you what, William Phillips also there. Jim Kirby, tonight I'm going to help you out. Noah Barr is a guy, if you can, number 7. If Valley holds on to win this one, somebody I think we got to talk. I've said his name
several
a
times.
lot.
Okay.
I just like the name Noah, I guess.
Do you know a guy?
I know a guy. Whistle, timeout, Dowling.
That is going to leave Dowling with 1 timeout, 1:31 on the clock, and 75 yards to go.
We'll step away for 30 seconds. Come back after this. Valley 16, Dowling 9, right after this.
This is Iowa, and here we don't just dream, we make history by nearly doubling our clean energy as part of our 100% renewable vision. With this, our energy costs will remain some of the lowest in the nation. We'll create new jobs and boost economic growth. Our air will be cleaner, our state stronger, and together we'll advance this country's energy future forever. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
91 seconds remain in this incredible football game, an instant classic between Dowling and Valley. Redding throws a football, caught. They're trying to go for the flea flicker fumble. The old hook and ladder. The ball came loose at the 30, and it is Tiger football.
On that play, you could see Valley playing off the ball. Dowling knows they're playing off the ball. It really was a great time for the hook and ladder. The catch just wasn't made cleanly. So when he came down, Tiger defense was able to converge on him and knock the ball away.
I don't know if we can pull the replay from that one or not. I'm going to kill Eric, or Eric's going to kill me. If he's going to, I think he's going B. The option B is the look I got. All right, we'll hold that one. We'll don't worry about that one. That one was, you're right. It was a tough play. So now Valley's going to go into the victory formation with 1:23. Still a timeout for Dowling. And that is a stunned fan base from Buffalo Road. And now we do have the play here that pretty much sealed it. 16-9 is your score. 1:05 to play, and Dowling's not even going to call the timeouts. They're just going to let this one go, contest that it's a good game, and know that we can't stop the ball to make a difference. That was an incredible football game, Keith.
It was. When you said it was an instant classic, I think everybody can agree with that. On both sides of the ball, there's a good chance they're going to see each other again.
Well, and the winner, we have it. Let's take a look at that final play that sealed it. It was complete and then just fumbled out, and I'm trying to see who it was that 85. So it was to Dylan Wymore, and he was trying the whole time to get it out, and that's going to be the final play. 11 seconds still remain on the board, but it's all in the details now. The streak has been broken.
Our next home game is Friday, September 23rd versus Fort Dodge. Kickoff is at 7:30 right here at the Valley Stadium. That is homecoming.
Dowling had won 5 of the last 6, and in the year that you win the early regular season game, you usually win the postseason rematch. We'll see if that holds this year. We got a lot of football to play. Valley 16, Dowling 9. They shake hands. We sort it out. We'll have post-game with Jim Kirby. He'll be on the sidelines here. And we're just getting started here in West Des Moines with the post-game show. Back after this on CISN TV.
Repeat and referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now, and after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none, and we're committed to it. And I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Miss your hometown clothing store? The one that had it all? Everything to get the work done, all in one place? G&L Clothing is your hometown Iowa store. Stop in and see us. Or we're only a click or phone call away. Family owned for nearly a century. G&L Clothing, 1801 Ingersoll, Des Moines.
G&L Clothing, your size, your style, we've got it all.
Why do I look for the seal? It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
Instant classic here in West Des Moines tonight. Valley knocks off number 1 Dowling 16-9. And this one felt good if you were cheering for the Tigers tonight, Keith.
Yes. When you take a look at both game
plans. Let's go down. We're going to go right down right now to Jim Kirby.
Sensen, congratulations on a big win. What did you learn about your team tonight?
Well, we had a lot of people contribute. It's like I just told our team. You know, just look at all the punts we had to kick. We had a snap or a punt we had to cover. I mean, the defense hung us in there, you know, for a long time, and we were getting worn down. I told our kids before that last series, I said, boys, we got to do our part here because we were tired. But we just made enough plays, you know. We hit the big pass to Heald on the rollout, and, you know, we were just solid tonight. Nothing fancy, but really happy for our kids. I mean, these guys are hard to beat.
Coach, a big game, a big victory early on. How does this victory rank in the season and just among, you know, looking ahead?
Hey, for tonight, it's awesome. You know, in the grand scheme of this season, 2 years ago we beat Dowling out here and we didn't even get a chance for a rematch. We lost in the quarterfinals. So for tonight, it's the biggest game in town.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, that's head coach Gary Swenson. And now we'll go back down to the field with Jim Kirby. Valley wins 16-9. Jim?
Speaking with Noah Barr. Noah, we called your name a lot tonight. Talk about your defense and how big you guys came up at the end.
We played as a family, and we really came together. We played hard defense, and we did what we had to do.
You guys were out there on the field a lot of cramping going on. What did Coach tell you before the game to get you guys so riled up?
He told us to be humble. He told us to come out here and play a clean game, play our game, and that's what we did.
What does it mean to beat this Dowling team for you?
It means a lot. It means a lot. It's just another team, though. We got to keep moving on because the ultimate goal is still to come.
No, I heard a big cheer come up. Coach Svensson said something to you guys. What did he tell you at the very end?
He told us this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, and we got a lot to come for us because we're a good team and we play as a family.
Congratulations, Noah. Congratulations on a great game.
Thanks, man.
All right, Jim Kirby, excellent job on those sidelines tonight, Keith. And, you know, this one was back and forth. This is the game that you always hope that it is. Last year, you think of that game at Drake, and then you think of the game at the Unidome. But Dowling controlled both of those. Valley never felt like they were in it. Both teams absolutely had opportunities to win tonight.
They did, and you could feel the momentum shifts.
Yeah.
Last year and the year before, there weren't any momentum shifts. And so to watch this game, you know, we were just about to come out of a break at some point, and we said, God, we're still both sitting on the edge of our seats in purely a defensive game, and then all of a sudden, late, both offenses erupted and went from having negative yards to now being on the positive. They had to have finished positive yards for the second half, and some big plays. We were waiting for big plays. We knew big plays could happen, and when the offenses got rolling, Dowling's running game and Valley's passing game, it was exciting all the way to the end.
Dowling punted the football 10 times tonight. Valley punted the football 7 times. There was not a first down in the second half until the second series of the fourth quarter.
There have been seasons where neither team punted that many times, and they had to do it tonight in a game. So the punters got their work in, the long snappers got their work in, and you think about that. You have to have a good snap every time because it's such a game-changing thing. So the snappers got a lot of pressure on them. The punters got a lot of pressure on them because you know the pressure is going to be coming, and you have been changing the field possession all night. And so tonight it really was about your positioning. I think the average starting position for Valley was better than Dowling's tonight, and that may have come out in the end.
Valley final drive that was the ball game started on their own 10. Austin Hinkle took the punt and stepped out of bounds at the 10. Valley then goes 9 plays, 90 yards, and capped by Javon Mason. Javon Mason in that drive, Keith, is not the Javon Mason you and I have seen in the first 3 weeks.
No,
and I'm including tonight.
Right, yes, for 3 quarters tonight, 3.5 quarters. And so what we're talking about is he's been very patient. He's sat back and he's kind of let the play come to him and then see what he can get. But in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, it was like a switch turned on, and he had some bruising speed that came through.
All right, the Tigers scored in the first quarter on a Braden Heald 26-yard touchdown pass reception. Extra point was missed, 6-0 at that point. Then Cole Deskin, a touchdown run, made it 7-6. Then Cole Hahn, a field goal to give the Tigers a 9-7 lead at the break. Then there's the safety, makes it 9-9. That was after Dowling had turned it over on downs. So you're looking at 3 points at least left on the field there. Point left back for Valley. So now you're at +2 for Valley. And it didn't matter in the end, though. They get the touchdown. Javon Mason, 5-yard touchdown, 16-9. The Tigers will be on the road at Johnston next week. And the Maroons will be playing Waukee. And both of those games you'll be able to see on CISN.TV. Both games tonight that we had, Dar Danielson's game at Waukee with Ankeny, an excellent game. And as we leave you tonight, you're going to be able to see the skies were incredible. We fought rain throughout the entire night. Just an incredible football game, but it was a good one nonetheless. But take a look one final time as we fly around the stadium. Thanks for watching on CISN TV. For Keith Bornas, Jim Kirby, and the entire crew at CISN, thanks for watching. So long from West Des Moines.